It says assume that the Phillips curve is given by pi t minus 1 is equal to m plus z minus alpha ut. Given this information, the natural rate of unemployment is. So we know that the natural rate of unemployment is the unemployment where there is no change in the inflation. Now, usually we define the natural rate of unemployment like this beta. तो कैसे define करते हैं हम natural rate of unemployment को? It is defined, so U is equal to UN when pi is equal to actual value of your inflation is equal to your expected inflation. ठीक है बेटा, कैसे define करते हैं हम? That unemployment rate is at its natural level. Unemployment rate is at its natural level when the actual inflation and expected inflation are equal to each other. When actual inflation is equal to expected inflation. अब बेटा थोड़ा सा और इसमें समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. Usually when we talk about, अगर कोई भी information नहीं दी होगी, assuming adaptive expectation, we assume that the expected inflation is simply last year's inflation. मतलब मैं कितना expect करूंगी इस साल की inflation को? How much will I expect this year's inflation to be? I will expect this year's inflation to be equal to last year's inflation. मैं उसको पिछले साल के बराबर expect करूंगी. So when I say that pi t should be equal to pi et, if no information is given in exam, अगर exam में कोई भी information नहीं दी होगी, you will assume that pi et will be equal to pi t minus 1. The expected inflation will be equal to last year's inflation. बेटा जब मैं इन दोनों चीजों को क्लब करती हूँ, when I will club this and this together, when we will club these two things together, हमें क्या मिल जाएगा? We will get pi t is equal to pi et is equal to the inflation last year. So what I will go ahead and I will get is that inflation this year should be equal to the inflation last year. अब बेटा we will go back to the question. So ये question में देखो जरा. Now here what I can go ahead and I can do is, so अगर इस year और last year की inflation equal है, if both of them are equal to each other, so pi t minus 1 will be 0. हाँ बेटा, so I will get 0 is equal to m plus z minus alpha ut. I will get 0 is equal to m plus z minus alpha ut. So from here beta, if I just take this onto the other side, I will get alpha ut is equal to m plus z. और बेटा ut को भी मैं un से replace कर सकती हूँ, because we have considered in the background that pi t is equal to pi t minus 1. So we have considered ut should be equal to un. So instead of ut की जगह पर हम un लिख सकते हैं. We can write un. So beta here I will have un. If I have un here, so what will be the value of un? Un will be m plus z by alpha. क्या value आ जाएगी बेटा un की? Un will be m plus z by alpha. So we can say that the natural rate of unemployment, जो हमारा natural rate of unemployment होगा बेटा, that will be m plus z by alpha. That is going to be m plus z by alpha. That is the answer to this question. So answer option number B. Am I clear with this? Everyone is clear with this? Okay, beta. Now I'm going to go ahead and take you to the next question. So I will take this at the end. This is a little difficult questions. First, I will start with the easy ones. Okay, beta. Let's take this question. This is an easy one. It says, suppose Phillips curve is given by pi t minus 1. is equal to 0.25 minus 5 ut. ठीक है, so let's just write this equation down. What is the Phillips curve given by? Pi t minus pi t minus 1 is equal to 0.25 minus 5 ut. ये Phillips curve का equation दिया हुआ बेटा. It says if unemployment rate is 0.04, so it is given that the unemployment rate is 0.04. So what can I go ahead and do? Instead of this unemployment rate, इस unemployment rate की जगह पर I can just plug this value of unemployment. मैं इस value को plug in कर सकती हूँ बेटा. So instead of this unemployment rate, I can just plug this value of unemployment and I will get pi t minus 1 is equal to 0.25 minus 5 into 0.04. तो क्या मिल जाएगा बेटा? 0.25 minus 0.20. So I will go ahead and get the answer as 0.05. I will get the answer as 0.05. तो बेटा जस्ट हैव अ लुक. हाँ, यहाँ पर ध्यान से देखना है हमें. ये हो गया हमारा चेंज इन इन्फ्लेशन. And I am saying that my change in inflation is positive. देख रहे हो यहाँ पे positive. I am getting a positive value ना. So it is saying that the change in inflation is positive. That means that my inflation is increasing over time. मेरी inflation increase हो रही है because the change in inflation is positive. So my inflation is increasing over time. Right, beta? So what will happen? It will rise. And by what amount? क्या amount निकल के हमारा 0.05. So the correct answer to this question should be A. It will increase. And by what amount will it increase? It will increase by 0.05. Am I clear with this? Everyone? Everyone is with me on this question? We are done with it? Okay, beta. Now, let me go ahead and take another question for the day. So let's read this out, beta. It says, suppose that Phillips curve equation is given by this. क्या equation दी हुई है बेटा? What is the equation given to you? You are given pi t minus 1 is equal to 0.3 minus 5 ut. Given this information, the natural rate of unemployment is. So beta, how have we defined the natural rate? कैसे define किया है हमने natural rate of unemployment को? The natural rate of unemployment is defined wherever your inflation is equal to expected inflation. So your actual inflation and your expected inflation should be equal to each other. So beta, natural rate, we can write natural rate can be defined where actual inflation and expected inflation are equal to each other. हाँ बेटा. Now, beta, I just told you that जब expected inflation नहीं दी होगी, when expected inflation will not be given, you can assume that your expected inflation is nothing but the last year's inflation. इस साल की इन्फ्लेशन लास्ट साल की इन्फ्लेशन के बराबर होगी. You can assume that expected inflation will be equal to last year's inflation. So बेटा यहां से हमें क्या आ जाएगा? That this year's inflation equal to expected inflation equal to last year's inflation. जो इस साल की इन्फ्लेशन होगी और जो लास्ट साल की इन्फ्लेशन होगी, they will be equal to each other. So बेटा the difference between the two will be 0. So when this happens, we know that ut will be equal to un. So beta, what can I do? ये cancel out हो जाएगा and ut will be replaced with un. And ut will be replaced with un. So beta, now I can take this on the other side. So 5 un is equal to 0.3. So un will be 0.3 divided by 5. un क्या हो जाएगा बेटा? 0.3 divided by 5. So 3 by 10 into 1 by 5. So 0.06. So your UN का जो value आ जाएगा बेटा, that will come down as 0.06. Am I clear, बच्चों? Is that making some sense to you? So the answer to this question should be 0.06. The natural rate of unemployment will be 0.06. I hope this is making some sense to you. These questions are very, very important. Assume that the consumption basket of utility maximizing consumer consists of two goods X and Y. Further, assume that she spends a quarter of her income on good X, right? So what is the question saying? Let's read the question. Question is saying that you have a consumption basket and you are consuming two goods X and Y. You are consuming two goods X and Y. आगे क्या बोल रहे हैं? Assume further that she spends 1/4 of her income on good X and income elasticity of demand of X is 0.5. 1/4 of her income. So you are given share of income spent on good X is 1/4. So beta, what will be share of income spent on good Y? 3/4. Then it says the income elasticity of demand for good X is 0.5. The income elasticity on X is 0.5. बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, बट यू विल बी एबल टू डू दिस क्वेश्चन ओनली इफ यू आर अवेयर ऑफ एंजल एग्रीगेशन. क्या बोलता है एंजल एग्रीगेशन बेटा? इट सेज शेयर ऑन गुड एक्स इनटू इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ एक्स प्लस शेयर ऑन गुड वाई इनटू इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ गुड वाई शुड बी इक्वल टू 1. So what is the share of my money on good X? 1/4. Income elasticity is 0.5. Share on good Y will be 3/4. Income elasticity I don't know, and this will give me 1, right? So I can say 3/4 income elasticity. 0.5 ko I will write as 5/10. 5/10 is nothing but 1/2. 1/2 into 1/4 ho gaya 1/8. And I will take this on the other side. So 1 minus 1/8, 7/8. So what will be income elasticity, beta? 7/8 into 4/3. It means it is going to be 7/6. That means approximately 1.167, approximately 1.7. Right? So we can say that the correct answer to this question will be A, 1.17. ठीक है? अच्छा, let us try to go ahead and derive this बेटा. एक बारी derivation देखो. Price of good X into X plus price of good Y into Y is equal to income. This is the equation of budget line. है ना? Now what I am going ahead and I am doing, I am in this budget line equation, I want to convert this in terms of income elasticity. So I am differentiating throughout by income. देखो, how X changes as M changes, how Y changes as M changes, equal to 1. Okay. Now throughout बेटा, I am going ahead. अच्छा, इसको अब elasticity में convert करना है ना? तो elasticity में convert करने के लिए I need M here and X here. तभी तो ये पूरा elasticity बनेगा. So what I am going to go ahead and do, that I am going to write del X by del M. I need to convert this into elasticity. So I will multiply M by X and I will also multiply X by M. So net there is no change. I am multiplying M by X also and X by M also. So nothing has changed. Plus, similarly, I will go ahead and I will multiply M by Y and I will also divide by M by Y, which means multiply Y by M, no change, equal to 1. This is just a small editing I have done to enhance the final answer. This part, this is income elasticity of good X. This part, this is income elasticity of good Y. And what I'm left up with, Px into X by M, Py into Y by M equal to 1. This is the share of income spent on good X. And this is the share of income spent on good Y equal to. So this is the formula of angel aggregation. You can use this formula and you can get the answer to this question. ठीक है? Is that clear? Okay, beta. Thank you. What condition is a unique level of public good supplied at different allocations of private good? Right? It says elaborate. The question is going ahead and asking ki under what condition you will go ahead and supply a unique level of the public good, beta. When will your public good be unique under different levels or different allocations of the private good, right? तो अब थोड़ा सा हमें इस बात को समझना होगा that when we talk about public good, beta, public good is always unique. There is one number, right? The amount of public good that will be supplied in the economy, it will be unique. So what individual A will be consuming public good, it will be equal to what B will be consuming, and it will be equal to what is available in the market. The amount of public good is always the same. ठीक है? So we just have to go ahead and elaborate on this only. हमें सिर्फ इसी चीज को explain करना है that for each individual, we can start by talking about say quasi-linear preferences. तो हमने एक utility function ले लिया xi comma g. This is equal to xi plus vi dash vi g. हमने बोल दिया कि let this be the utility function of individual I. And beta, what is our condition for supplying the public good? क्या हमारा Pareto efficiency condition क्या रहता है when we have to supply the goods in the economy? So we know that the Pareto efficiency condition for supplying the amount of public good is MRS summed up should be equal to marginal cost of the public good. So MRS of individual A plus MRS of individual B plus MRS of individual C and so on and so forth. When you will go ahead and add the MRS of all individuals, it should be equal to marginal cost. ये हमारा condition है for Pareto efficiency of the public good. This is our Pareto efficiency condition of the public good, and इसी से हमारा equilibrium condition भी आ जाता है. So if you go to your chapter, right, chapter number 17 that we have done, beta, 17 में not 17, if you go to chapter number 18, sorry, if you go towards chapter number 18, in chapter number 18 we have already studied this condition, how to get efficiency with public goods. हमने ये वाला already पढ़ा हुआ है. So you can go ahead and you can write your answer from there itself, right? So if you just go ahead to page number 332 of your book, अगर आप इस पेज पे आओगे, page 332 of your book, it says Samuelson optimality condition. You just have to go ahead and write that. आपको सिर्फ वो Samuelson optimality condition को explain करना है, and that will be enough. ठीक है? That should be the answer to this question. Am I making sense? तो आपको mainly you just have to go ahead and write this, that public good is always provided, the same amount of public good is always provided to all individual, as public good is non-excludable and non-rivalrous. Then you have to go ahead and you have to explain this pura situation, that let there be an individual, उस individual के एक utility function को आप ले लेना, and after writing that you just have to explain this Pareto efficiency condition कि यहाँ से हमारे पास we will get one amount of public good which will be existing in the market. ठीक है? Okay, beta. Now let me go to the second question. Question number 2. But this again is from 2006 paper. And let us try to read this question. It says the sum of price weighted excess demand summed over all markets must be equal to 0. Explain. Okay. Very good question, beta. Let us try to see a question क्या बोल रहा है. What is the meaning of this question? It's an excellent question. तो कह रहा है कि the sum of prices weighed against your weight excess demand summed over all markets must be equal to 0. Explain. Okay. So now what you can go ahead in this case and what you can do is the following, beta. यहाँ पर we will write the equation of the Walras law. Right? What is the equation of the Walras law? The equation of Walras law says P1 into Z1, P1 comma P2 plus P2 into Z2, P1 comma P2 is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. Try to understand, beta, that here Z1 represents the excess demand in market 1. And Z2 represents the excess demand in market 2. Right? This is representing the excess demand in market 1 and excess demand in market 2. अब इसमें ना we need to consider cases. देखो बेटा, when will be the sum of two things? अगर मैं कोई दो चीजों को add कर रही हूं, when will the sum of two things be 0? The first case can be when both of them are 0. अगर दोनों ही 0 हैं, if both of them are 0, then the sum will be 0. So we can go ahead and say that the sum of two things will be 0 if both P1 into Z1 is 0 and P2 into Z2 is also 0. So 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. एंड बेटा व्हेन विल दिस बी द केस? ऐसा कब होगा कि P1 इंटू Z1 भी 0 हो जाएगा और P2 इंटू Z2 भी 0 हो जाएगा? वी नो that since prices are assumed to be positive, prices तो 0 नहीं हो सकते हैं. So since prices are assumed to be positive, the sum of these would be 0 if they are individually 0. Z1 is 0 and Z2 is also 0. If Z1 is 0 and Z2 is also 0. But Z1 0 means there is no excess demand in market 1. That means market 1 is clearing. And Z2 0 means there is no excess demand in market 2. So market 2 is also clearing. Market 2 भी clear कर रही है. So when we go ahead and say that P1 Z1 plus P2 Z2 is 0, तो case 1 जो इसमें हमने लिया है, the case 1 that we have taken, beta, we have taken the case that P1 Z1 is also 0 and P2 Z2 is also 0. And since we are assuming prices to be non-negative and not also 0, we are assuming them to be strictly positive. This means कि Z1 को भी 0 होना पड़ेगा and Z2 को भी 0 होना पड़ेगा अगर इनके प्रोडक्ट को 0 होना है. And this means automatically, beta, that we will have no excess demand in market 1. मतलब market 1 भी clear कर जाएगी और market 2 भी clear कर जाएगी. अच्छा, now come to case 2, beta. Case 2 says that the sum of two things can be 0 इफ वन ऑफ देम इज पॉजिटिव, अगर एक पॉजिटिव हो और दूसरा नेगेटिव हो, तो भी तो सम विल बी जीरो, इजंट इट? तो इफ आई जस्ट गो ahead and I take the case that P1 Z1 plus P2 Z2 is 0, right? तो I can have that Z1 is positive, but P1 P2 को तो हम पॉजिटिव ही मान रहे हैं, these are prices. तो अगर ये पॉजिटिव है, that means this entire thing is positive. So for this to be zero, अगर इसको जीरो होना है, this must be negative. तभी तो positive plus negative would be zero. So this means that Z2 should be negative. So this means that when Z1 positive का क्या मतलब है? That excess demand is positive. That means demand is more than supply in market 1. And Z2 negative means what, beta? That demand is less than supply. Excess demand is negative. So this means that when there is excess demand in market 1, जब demand supply से ज़्यादा है in market 1, then there will be excess supply in market 2. Supply will be more than demand in market 2. Are you getting this? Is this making some sense to you? So we can go ahead and we can say that in this case, beta, P1 Z1 plus P2 Z2 equal to 0. इसके ये दो implications होंगे. These two would be the implications of P1 Z1 plus P2 Z2 equal to 0. Is this clear? Huh? So this is what is the meaning of this question. I hope this question is clear to you, right? Okay, beta. Now let me go ahead to the next question. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन था ये. सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कैन बी आस्क्ड इन एग्जाम फ्रॉम द थ्योरेटिकल एस्पेक्ट. अगर थ्योरी से कोई क्वेश्चन आएगा तो इस तरीके का क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में आ सकता है. दिस कैन बी आस्क्ड इन एग्जाम. Okay, beta, now let me just go on to the next question. So it says, in a two-person general, this is again 2006 paper, beta, right? 2006 paper question. So in a two-person general equilibrium model, marginal rate of substitution of one of the agents is not equal to marginal rate of substitution of other agent. Explain how they can be made better off. Okay, beta, now I will try to go ahead and I will try to explain you two cases. दो तरीके से ये क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में आ सकता है. There can be two ways in which this question can be asked in your exam. The first way in which this question can be asked in your exam, it can be like this only. ऐसा उन्होंने बोल दिया that if there is a two-person general equilibrium game and MRS of substitution of one of them is not equal to MRS, and how you can make them better off. ये तो एक हो गया. In the second case, what they will do now, instead of MRS, they will use the word MRT. So I will explain you that case also. What happens if they will use the word MRT? Then how you will go ahead and solve this? We need to understand that case also. ठीक है बेटा. Let's start with the question given here. So case 1. So it says when MRS of two individuals are not equal. बेटा this I have already discussed in my video lectures also. उसमें भी आपको ये वाला केस मिलेगा when MRS of two individual is not equal. So let us take case number. अच्छा, इसमें क्या करेंगे ना हम, first of all we will go ahead and we will draw an Edgeworth box OA OB, and since MRS of two individual is not equal to each other,
this is how you will draw the indifference curve of individual A, and this is how you will draw the indifference curve of individual B. And you will start by explaining one point. एक point से शुरू करोगे. So let's start with point number E. So at point E, the indifference curve of individual A and the indifference curve of individual B, beta, they are intersecting each other. They are intersecting each other. So when they are intersecting each other, they are not equal. है ना? They are equal only at the point of tangency. जब tangent होते हैं तो equal होते हैं. Otherwise, they are not equal to each other. ये बात हम समझते हैं. We understand this point. Now try to understand. If you remember of my classes, you would know कि हमने इस area को, we had defined this area as the core. क्या लिखा था इसको बेटा हमने? We had written this as the core. Isn't it? We had defined this as the core. And if you remember, इसमें हमने क्या बात बोली थी बच्चे? We had said that when an individual moves from any point to a point inside the core, जब कोई भी एक इंडिविजुअल किसी भी पॉइंट से कोर के अंदर जाता है, the individual goes towards the core, inside the core, you realize that the utility of the individual increases. Utility of the individual increases, right? So this means beta that when I will move this individual from point E to point G, suppose अगर मैं इंडिविजुअल को पॉइंट ई से पॉइंट जी की तरफ लेके आती हूं, आई विल रियलाइज दैट एट पॉइंट जी individual A will be on a higher indifference curve. Individual A will be on a higher indifference curve. उसको हम एक ऊपर के इंडिफरेंस कर्व पे लेके जा पा रहे हैं, राइट? सो इंडिविजुअल ए विल बी ऑन अ हायर इंडिफरेंस कर्व. सिमिलरली वी रियलाइज, देखो बी का ओरिजिन ये है, सो द मोर अवे ही इज फ्रॉम हिज ओरिजिन द बेटर. So we realize individual B will be also on a higher indifference curve. He has shifted more away from the origin. वो अपने origin से और दूर हो गया है. It means his utility is increasing further. So we realize that both individual A and individual B will be on higher indifference curve and therefore they will be having more utility. दोनों की ही जो utility होगी वो ज्यादा होगी. There will be more utility for both individuals, right? So when you move from point E to point G, utility of both the individual is increasing. So both of them are becoming better off. तो यही तो क्वेश्चन बोल रहा है that when MRS is not equal to MRS of another, मतलब when we start from point like B, how we can make them better off? हम उनको better off कैसे कर सकते हैं? By moving them towards the core. ठीक है. अच्छा, now suppose this question was a bit different. और ये क्वेश्चन आपको बोलता that in a 2-person economy, MRS of one agent is not equal to MRT between two goods. Explain how individuals can be made better off. Again, this is a 2006 question, beta. Read the question. It says, in a 2-person economy, MRS of one of the agents is not equal to MRT. So MRT is the slope, marginal rate of transformation, is the slope of PPC, right? A production possibility curve, right? So अब हम क्या करेंगे ना? This is a little out of your syllabus question, but what you can do, आप यहाँ पे एक PPC बना लो. We will take two goods, good X and good Y, and यहाँ पे हम एक indifference curve बना लेंगे. We will make an indifference curve. बाकी चीजें the same, everything we have done. So we will start from point A, beta. At point A, MRS and MRT are not equal to each other. ये मेरा production possibility curve है. Production possibility curve का slope is marginal rate of transformation. इसका slope will be MRS. They are intersecting each other. Remember, intersection does not mean slope will be equal. Slopes are equal only at the point of tangency. जब tangency achieve होती है, only at that point slopes are equal to each other. So what we will see beta, again we see that there is creation of the core. इसको हम core बोल सकते हैं. There is creation of the core. Core means I can make individual A better off. Right? कैसे? How can we make individual A better off? We can take him to higher and higher indifference curve. हम उसको यहां इस पॉइंट तक लेके जा सकते हैं. And when we will take individual A to this indifference curve, his utility has increased. और मैं अभी भी I am just producing the two goods fully. I am on the same PPC. So I have been able to increase the utility of individual A while being on same production possibility curve. While being on same production possibility curve. So we can say that this has increased the welfare. और when is the welfare increased? बेटा कब हो पा रहा है ये? This is happening at the point of tangency. Point of tangency पे हो रहा है. And what is the point of tangency doing to us? क्या हो रहा है point of tangency पे? That MRS is becoming equal to MRT. So when we moved from a point, ये point था where MRS and MRT were not equal to each other. ये दोनों equal नहीं थे. So when we moved from point MRS not equal to MRT to a point MRS equal to MRT, हमने ये देखा that the welfare is increasing. Utility is increasing. Is this clear? Okay, beta, come to the next question now. So again, this is a question asked in 2006 past year paper. Please read the question. It says, with well-defined property rights, Pareto efficient allocation may be achieved even in the good that involves consumption externality. Illustrate. Okay. Good question, beta. With well-defined property rights, Pareto efficient allocation may be achieved even in the good that involves consumption externality. So you would remember, beta, we have done this kind of question even in the past. You would remember कि the externalities, अब थोड़ा सा समझ लेते हैं. When we talk about externalities, right? So externality can be divided in two parts. दो तरीके की externality हो सकती है. One can be consumption externality, right? And the other can be production externality. Try to understand better. Consumption externality is involved wherever you are talking about consumption, right? जैसे consuming education, consuming cigarettes, one is positive, one is negative. Production is involved in the process of production. Now, consumption externality can be of two types. One can be positive consumption externality and one can be negative consumption externality. Similarly, production externality can also be of two types. One can be positive production externality and other can be negative production externality. Right? Now try to understand that when we talk about externalities, there are many ways to solve the problem of externality. ये externality का problem बहुत सारे तरीके से solve हो सकता है. One of them can be defining property rights. Right? So in property rights, we go ahead and we define कि किसका वो product है. So I have already given you an example. When we were studying the example of river and fishery, तो हमने explain किया था कि we can give property rights to either the fishery firm or the firm who is creating pollution, और दोनों ही case में property rights का problem will be solved. Similarly is the case of consumption externality also. So for example, in consumption externality, what we can go ahead and we can do is, we can take the example of common grounds, right? So there is a common ground on which villagers are going ahead and they're getting their sheeps. वो अपनी sheeps को लेकर आ रहे हैं, and these sheeps are overgrazing. क्योंकि the land does not belong to any particular individual, so सब अपनी sheeps यहाँ पे लेके आते हैं and they overutilize the land and it leads to overgrazing, thereby creating a negative consumption externality, है ना? Because I am asking my sheeps to overgraze, it is causing negative consumption externality. Now the way to resolve the problem of this is to go ahead and define the property rights. Right? आप property rights को define कर दो. So you go ahead and you say that, look, I am saying that this land, it belongs to the village panchayat. Now what will happen, beta? That this village panchayat, it will put some fees on the land whenever you have to do the grazing on the land, get your sheep grazed on the land, और इसी तरीके से you will ensure कि overgrazing ना हो. So defining property right ensures that you are able to account for the externality and it results in the optimal solution in the economy. It results in the optimal solution in the economy. ठीक है? तो in a way it ensures that आप external cost को भी consider करो या external benefit को भी consider करो. You consider external cost or external benefit. Okay, beta. Now let's go ahead to the next question. So I hope you will be able to write the answer to this one. This is again question from paper year 2006. Let us read down the question. Question कहता है, why does free access to common resource lead to overuse of resource? Explain. I have already just now explained you the same question. अभी ये बस एक reworded है दूसरे तरीके से, but I have gone ahead and explained you this question. बेटा इसको हम बोलते हैं, this is called as tragedy of commons. Tragedy of commons basically क्या बोलता है? Tragedy of commons basically goes ahead and it says that whenever you have a common resource, right? Because people do not consider the external cost, है ना? तो जब इस लैंड पर जिस पे ग्रास है, I am getting my sheep to herd here, I am not considering कि मेरी वजह से बाकी विलेजर्स पे नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट क्या पड़ेगा या उनके लिए कितनी कम ग्रास बचेगी उस लैंड पे. So I am not considering the negative impact it is going to go ahead and cause to other people, right? And because I am not considering that, तो मैं अपने मेरे जो हर्ड है उनसे ओवरग्रेज करवाऊंगी because it is free of cost available to me, right? And I am not considering that external cost. Is that making sense? So here I can go ahead and I can say that this is the tragedy of commons, that people don't go ahead and they do not consider the external cost, because of which it leads to overgrazing of the land. It leads to overgrazing of the land. Am I clear with this question, beta? So just explain this in detail. Okay. Now we will go ahead and move on to the next question. Okay, beta. So this question came in the year 2007. And the question is the following. It says, when is Pareto efficient solution or efficient allocation not supported by equilibrium price? When is Pareto efficient allocation not supported by equilibrium price? इसको थोड़ा सा let's try to understand, इसको समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. So if you remember, beta, we have something which is known as second welfare theorem. है ना? Second welfare theorem क्या बोलती है? What does second welfare theorem say? Second welfare theorem goes ahead and says that if I start with some Pareto efficient allocation, अगर मैं किसी एक Pareto efficient allocation से start करूं, then if some conditions are met, right? I will tell you about those conditions abhi. But if certain conditions are met, then you will achieve an equilibrium, competitive equilibrium price. है ना? तो किसी भी Pareto efficient solution को हम competitive equilibrium बना सकते हैं if certain conditions are met, right? If certain conditions are met, right? Now, when does second welfare theorem fail? This is the question which we are asking. यही है ये question. This is asking the same question कि हाँ, usually तो ऐसा होता है. Usually it happens that Pareto efficient solution can be made into a competitive price. एक example देखो, समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. So this is my Edgeworth box. OA, OB. And I have some Pareto efficient allocation. ये मेरा Pareto efficient allocation. This is indifference curve of individual A, indifference curve of B. This is my Pareto efficient allocation, point A. Then I can go ahead and I can pass a budget line through this. और इसी के थ्रू आई एम इंश्योरिंग दैट दिस प्राइस रेशियो जो भी इस बजट लाइन का स्लोप होगा ensures that each indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. We have done this in class. And if each indifference curve will be tangent to the budget line, तो we will ensure कि ये एक competitive equilibrium भी है. It is competitive equilibrium. You remember? We have done second welfare theorem in class. This is what we did. So the question is कि when does the second welfare theorem fail? कब हम ये लाइन पास नहीं कर पाएंगे? कब हम एक competitive equilibrium price ratio को नहीं निकाल पाएंगे? When we would not be able to find a competitive equilibrium price ratio. So number one, whenever you have non-convex preferences. Whenever you have non-convex preferences. So for example, if the indifference curve looks something like this, agar indifference curve individual A ka, it looks something like this, then second welfare theorem will fail. It will fail. I will not be able to support Pareto efficient allocation with a competitive price. मैं Pareto efficient allocation को एक competitive price के साथ support नहीं कर पाऊंगी under non-convex preferences. Similarly, I will not be able to do this if there is any kind of non-competitive market. माने if instead of perfect competition, I have monopoly, monopolistic competition, or any other kind of market, right? Oligopoly, then also I will not be able to do this, right? And third, under any kind of market failure. Like for example, public good, externality, right? Asymmetric information. So under these three situations, although मेरा एक point Pareto efficient हो सकता है, a point can be Pareto efficient, but I will not be able to go ahead and I will not be able to support it with an equilibrium price. But under usual situations, I will be able to go ahead and support it with equilibrium price. समझ रहे हो? So under usual situation माने अगर एक general case है कि ICs tangent हैं एक दूसरे को, the indifference curves are tangent to each other, then I can pass a budget line through that, and then I can say कि yes, now this is also a competitive equilibrium. क्योंकि competitive equilibrium के लिए क्या चाहिए? For competitive equilibrium, I just require tangency of budget line to IC. And Pareto efficiency के लिए tangency of IC to IC. So I have already established the tangency of indifference curve to indifference curve. Now, all that I require is that I should be able to pass a budget line through it. And I will be able to pass a budget line through it only if it is perfectly competitive market. But if the preferences are non-convex, your market is non-competitive, or there is any kind of market failure, so this second welfare theorem will not hold true. Am I clear with this question, beta? Okay. Let me go to the next question now. So 2007 only, we are taking the next question, beta. So the next question says the following. It says that there is a model which is a two-part tariff model, right? You're given Q1 is equal to 14 minus 2P1. Q2 is equal to 10 minus 2P2, right? Or part number A, beta. It says, suppose you can keep the two markets separate, then what would be the rental and usage fee in each market? What will be the rental and usage fee in each market if you will be able to keep the two markets separate? Very easy question, beta. So two markets separate mane I have to deal with them separately, so one at a time. And whenever we need to deal with these markets one at a time, so we know that, beta, what will we go ahead and do? We will keep the minimum per unit fee, right? Achha, you're not given marginal cost anywhere. Sorry, you're given. Otherwise, how will I solve? So marginal cost is given as 4 per unit, right? So try to understand that whenever you have to keep the two markets separate, मतलब आपको इसको individual customer की तरह ही deal करना है. We have already done this kind of two-part tariff questions in our class also. And what do we do in these kind of questions, beta? You keep a usage fee, which is the minimum. And the minimum usage fees that you can go ahead and you can keep, that will be when P will be equal to marginal cost. You will keep P equal to MC. And after keeping P equal to MC, what will be your next step? You will be having maximum consumer surplus. And then you will be going ahead and charging that consumer surplus as the entry fee, right? That consumer surplus as the entry fee. So यही ये question पूछ रहे हैं. Let us try to solve this part. So I am doing for market 1 first. In market 1, beta, I have Q1 is equal to 14 minus 2P1, right? So अब हम क्या करेंगे बेटा? I am telling you that from here I will get P1 is equal to 14 minus Q1 by 2. And I need to charge the minimum price possible. So what is the minimum price at which monopolist can sell? Equate P to MC, right? So I will get 14 minus Q1 by 2 equal to MC. MC is 4 beta. So I will get 14 minus Q1 is equal to 8. So Q1 will be 14 minus 8. That means 6. So if I were to draw a diagram for this, अगर मेरे को इसका diagram बनाना हो, I will have 0 here, P1 here, Q1 here. And my demand function that I have been given, that is Q1 is equal to 14 minus 2 P1, right? It is 14 minus 2 P1. So, beta, if P1 is 0, Q1 will be 14. And if Q1 is 0, P1 will be 7. Right? What is your marginal cost, beta? Marginal cost is given to you as 4. This is your marginal cost. And at this, क्या निकला है हमारा quantity? What's the quantity we have found out? The quantity that we have found out is 6. So we have found out the quantity as 6. समझ रहे हो बात को बेटा? Now we need to go ahead and we need to find out the entry fee. So entry fee will be equal to the maximum consumer surplus. What is the consumer surplus? This area below the demand curve above the price. So what will be my consumer surplus, beta? Half into base into height, half into 6 into 7 minus 4, half into 6 into 3. That means 9. That means 9. So we can go ahead and say that our rental fee, that means our kind of entry fee, it will be 9, and our usage charges will be 4 per unit. Our usage charges would be 4 per unit. समझ रहे हो बात को? Is this making sense? Okay. Now let me go ahead and do it for market 2 beta. So market 2 is given to you as Q2 is equal to 10 minus 2 P2. Again, you have to follow the same process. क्योंकि market 2 और market 1 को हम individually consider कर रहे हैं. We are considering them individually. So in market 2 also, beta, you will get your P2 is equal to 10 minus Q2 by 2. Right? Your equilibrium will be attained where P2 will be equal to MC. You have to keep the minimum price possible. So P2 will be equal to MC and your marginal cost is 4. So 10 minus Q2 by 2 is equal to 4. So you will have 10 minus Q2 is equal to 8. So Q2 will be 10 minus 8, which is 2. Q2 will be 10 minus 8, which is 2. Again, I will go ahead and plot this beta. So what was my function? My function was Q2 is equal to 10 minus 2 P2. So if I will keep price 0, Q2 will be 10. And if I will keep Q2 0, P2 will be 5. So here P2 ले लो यहाँ पे, Q2 ले लो यहाँ पे. This will be 5 and 10. Right? Now, we have found out that marginal cost is 4 and the quantity that we are selling, that is 2. So what will be our consumer surplus, beta? Consumer surplus will be this area. So it will be half into base into height. So this will be half into 2 into 1. So 1. This will be my consumer surplus. This will be my consumer surplus. Clear होती है बात? अच्छा. Now the question is going ahead and saying second part to the question, beta. It says if you had common two-part tariff system, okay, what would be rental and usage fee? तो now what this question is going ahead and asking you, ये कह रहा है कि अगर अब हमारे पास एक common rental system हो, so if I now have a common system. I don't have different markets. I cannot price discriminate. I have to charge one price and I have to go ahead and I have to charge one usage fee. So in that case, where will I go ahead and where will I see the equilibrium? मुझे equilibrium क्या मिलेगा? What is the rental fee I will charge and what is the usage fee I will charge? So beta, in such cases, we know, again, I have done similar questions in class. You can refer to the past year questions I have already discussed. So you will realize that when there is this case, we know that we will always go ahead and charge according to the lower consumer surplus customer. Charge according to the lower consumer surplus customer. तो इधर अगर हम देखते हैं बेटा, इधर जो हमारा कंज्यूमर सरप्लस आ रहा है, that is coming out as 1, and here my consumer surplus that is coming out as 9. So clearly the second market has lower consumer surplus. So what I will do, I will plot the two markets together. This is 5, this is 10, this is P1, this is Q1, right? And the second market intercepts were 7, 14. This is 7, this is 14. I will just draw it like this. And this is 4. Like this, better. Right, like this. So now we go ahead and we understand that the usage, the usage fees that I can go ahead and I can have in this case is this. The rental fees is the lower consumer surplus. Because if I will charge rental fee as the higher one, then in that case, I will lose out this market. अगर मैं रेंटल फीस ही 9 रुपीज चार्ज करूंगी तो ये मार्केट तो मैक्सिमम 1 रुपी रेंटल फी पे करने को रेडी है. So I will lose out on this market. So I have to charge a rental fee according to the lower market. That is what I need to go ahead and I need to ensure, right? So now what I can go ahead and do, I have to find out what the usage fee should be. ठीक है? So I will say that let the usage fee be P star. Let the usage fee be P star. So can you tell me what is going to be the profit of the firm, beta? I am going to go ahead and charge P star from both the markets now. दोनों ही market से मुझे P star मिलेगा. So now what I am going to go ahead and do is I am going to assume, so just try to understand the case once. The maximum consumer surplus that I can collect is if I charge consumer surplus equal to 1. But I need to check कि क्या वो value है जिससे मेरा profit maximum हो रहा है, right? I am no more going to charge price equal to 4. उसका कोई sense नहीं है यहाँ पे, because different consumers have different consumer surplus. So what I will do now, I will keep a price equal to P star now. This is my price that I will be charging. Price equal to P star. And what I will be doing, I will be finding what this P star is such that my profits are maximized. एक ऐसा P star निकालना है जिससे मेरा प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमम हो जाए, पर उसके हिसाब से एंट्री फी जो रहेगी वो लोअर कंज्यूमर के कंज्यूमर सरप्लस जो उस प्राइस का रहा है उस पे रहेगी. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग. The maximum consumer surplus that can be charged as entry fee will be this. Higher consumer ka consumer surplus cannot be charged as entry fee because you will lose out on the other market, right? तो consumer surplus हो जाता है half into, बेटा इस पॉइंट पे आपकी क्वांटिटी क्या है? You will get quantity from this demand curve. समझो बात को. You will get quantity from this demand curve. ये बेस है ना? So this is the base. This is the height. So height is coming out as 5 minus P star. Height is coming out as 5 minus P star. And what about base, beta? Base माने ये वाला quantity. और ये क्वांटिटी को हम इस डिमांड फंक्शन से निकाल सकते हैं. सो व्हाट इज माय क्वांटिटी? माय क्वांटिटी दैट आई हैव फाउंड यूजिंग माय डिमांड फंक्शन इज दिस. तो if P is equal to P star, quantity will be 10 minus 2 P star. So instead of quantity, I can go ahead and I can write 10 minus 2 P star. I can write 10 minus 2 P star. ये बात समझ में आती है. तो this is the consumer surplus of this individual, of the lower individual. And I will be charging this as the entry fee. And I have to charge entry fee from both the customers. दोनों को ही तो I am selling the product. So the second customer who had higher consumer surplus, वो भी entry fee सिर्फ इतने ही देगा because I cannot differentiate between the two. So I have to charge entry fee according to the consumer surplus of the lower customer. So there are two customers. So total entry fee collected will be this into 2. So 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So I will get 5 minus P star into 10 minus 2 P star. So I can take 2 common from here. So it will be 2, 5 minus P star whole square. So this is the entry fee I have collected. This is part of my profit. So मेरा profit में सबसे पहले I am collecting entry fee from the two customers. So it will be 2, 5 minus P star whole square. This is the entry fee collected. Clear? Plus, now beta I have to go ahead and I have to ask how much. तो अब per unit price paid by consumer 1 is P star. और इस P star पे what is the quantity he is demanding? That will come from his demand curve. और उसके demand curve का equation that is this. So he will be demanding 10 minus 2 P star unit. तो per unit वो तो entry fees थी, right? Now per unit I am going ahead and collecting P star at 10 minus 2 P star plus from individual 2 also per unit I am collecting P star, but his demand curve is different. So when price is P star, how much will individual 2 be demanding beta? When price is P star, individual 2 will be demanding 14 minus 2 P star, right? So he will be demanding 14 minus 2 P star units. Minus, there is some cost also. Cost is 4 per unit into the total quantity sold. So total quantity will be what? Quantity of individual 1 plus quantity of individual 2. I will just write their quantities. So quantity of individual 1 plus quantity of individual 2. This will be my profit function. Is this clear? This is very good question. Making some sense? Okay. So pi will become 2, 5 minus P star whole square plus P star. I am taking P star common. I will get 24 minus 4 P star minus 4, 24 minus 4 P star. Now I need to go ahead and find that price which maximizes the profit in the economy. So I will differentiate the profit function with respect to price, and I will get 2, power comes down, 5 minus P star into minus 1 plus 24 minus, so this will give me 24 when I differentiate. This is 4P square, so 2P star minus 4 into minus 4 equal to 0. Right? Just solve this beta. So you will get 4, 5 minus P star plus 24 minus 8 P star plus 8 equal to 0. Minus 20 plus 4 P star plus 24 minus 8 P star plus 8 equal to 0. This is 12 is equal to 4 P star. So P star will be 12 by 4. That means 3. I'm getting, just see if I have done some some kind of have I done something incorrect here? Just go ahead and make a note of it. So just ensure that the differentiation is correct. -4, 5 minus p star. This is correct. Plus 24. This is correct. -4. P star square is 2p star minus 4 into -4, correct? Okay, this is correct. This is correct. Absolutely correct. Differentiation. So from here, I will get -20 plus 4p star plus 24 minus 8p star plus 8 equal to 0. So this will go ahead and this will give me 24 minus 20. That means 4 and plus 8. So 12. And this is plus 4 minus 8. So -4. It goes here. So 4. So this gives me the price as 3. Now, here is the issue here. That is why I was just rechecking it. I have got my equilibrium price as 3. But what was my marginal cost? My marginal cost was actually 4. My marginal cost was actually 4. I cannot charge a price below 4. I cannot charge a price below 4. I will be in a loss, right? So ultimately what is happening is that my equilibrium price is coming out to be here. But if I charge a price below 3, below 4, I will be in a loss, which is not possible. So what will I go ahead and do? The maximum price that I can go ahead and I can charge, that can actually be equal to my marginal cost, right? I cannot charge a price of 3. That is giving me, I cannot go below my marginal cost. That is incorrect to be done. So because in this example, it did not happen in other 2-tier questions that we have done, 2-part tariff. You can just have a look at those questions. But in this particular example, because I am getting a price below my marginal cost, I will go ahead and I will charge a price equal to marginal cost. And I will charge my entry fee equal to consumer surplus of lower consumer, right? And that will be the answer to this question. But you have to go through this process because not always you will get this lower than marginal cost. Agar ye suppose 5 aaya hota, then my equilibrium price would have been 5. But here, because I am getting a negation, I am getting the final equilibrium price to be lower than marginal cost. That is not something which I would like to do. I cannot charge a price lower than marginal cost. That is why I was just rechecking whether my calculations, whether in a hurry I've gone ahead and done correct or not. So that is what is something that you have to go ahead and make sure, right? I would still like to go ahead and just see the calculation once, because usually we will get a positive, we will get it more than marginal cost, the price to be more than marginal cost. That should not happen. So just recheck that part once, and otherwise this is correct. So just quickly we will recheck it beta once. So this will be 2 comes down, this into this, and p star taken common. So 24 minus 4 p star minus 4, 24 minus 4 p star. So when I will differentiate it, 2 will come down into this, into -1 plus okay. So if I just go ahead and I just try to open this up, this gives me -4, 5 minus p star plus 24 minus 8 p star plus 16 equal to 0. So -20 plus 4 p star plus 24 minus 8 P star plus 16 equal to 0. I think this is where I have done a mistake. So 420 is equal to 4 P star. P star will be 5. Good that we rechecked it. Good. I think I just wrote 8 here in a hurry. Sometimes it happens when I have a lot of things going on with what type of things I have to explain you in a question. It happens. Okay, so this is going to be 5 then, beta. So P star is coming out as 5. So now it is correct. Now the negation is solved. So equilibrium price will be coming out as 5. Now it is making sense. So ये जो हमारा equilibrium price हो जाएगा, it will be this. I will be charging a price exactly equal to 5. Exactly equal to 5. That means I will be charging 0 entry fees. क्योंकि अगर प्राइस ही 5 है तो my consumer surplus will be 0. So my entry fees will be 0. But my per unit price will be maximum possible price, which will be 5. Right? Is this clear? Okay, so this is how you can go ahead and solve a question on two-tier pricing. Okay, beta, come to the next question now. So, next question. This is a question from 2007. Let's see what the question is saying. So it says, suppose a firm C produces positive amount of good A and some pollution level which adversely affects production of another commodity F. Find private optimal level. Find social optimal level. Good question. Okay, so simple question, but a good one. So it says, suppose that there is a firm C which produces positive amount of good A and some pollution level which adversely affects the production of another commodity. Find the private optimal level of pollution and find the social optimal level of pollution. Okay, now try to see beta. Private optimal level of pollution to 0 yoga. There is no firm that would like to consider the pollution it is causing on another firm. It's an externality. I am affecting the other firm negatively. But why would I consider it? There is no reason why I should be considering it. So I can say that number 1, the private optimal level of pollution, it should be 0 beta. Right? Because when I will be writing my production profit function, I will be writing total revenue minus total cost, but I will be writing this total cost as only total private cost. I will not be considering the external cost that I am causing. Right? So I am not going to, मेरे हिसाब से मेरा optimal level जो होगा production का होगा, but pollution I will not consider into being because I will not consider that as part of your I will not consider pollution. I will not consider what my impact is on any other firm, right? So what I will do is I will simply try to maximize my profit function. और जो भी यहाँ से मेरा equilibrium quantity आएगा, I will just go ahead and produce that equilibrium quantity. So suppose I tell you that the external cost, as we have seen in our book these days, कि वो एक ऐसा function ले लेते हैं, that external cost is alpha q square. Suppose ऐसा कुछ ले लेते हैं. So या हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि pollution, suppose we just assume that pollution is 3 times the external cost, where external cost is this. यही ऐसा ही कोई example the book takes. तो हमें पता है कि pollution will be 3 alpha q whole square. But the point is that when the firm would be going ahead and would be maximizing its profit, it will not consider this external cost at all, right? तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग पॉल्यूशन विल बी मैक्सिमम. हाँ, जो भी आपका प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइजिंग क्वांटिटी आएगा, you will just plug that profit maximizing quantity here and you will get the amount of pollution. Are you understanding this? But now the second part goes ahead. You have to just explain this theoretically because उन्होंने कोई numerical नहीं दिया है. The second part goes ahead that asks find out the social optimal level. So what is the profit maximizing condition in case of social equilibrium? That is going to be total revenue minus total private cost minus total external cost. And you will be going ahead and maximizing this with respect to Q and equating it to 0. So since you are now considering the external cost, you will get a Q star post this being considered. And when you will be putting that Q star in your pollution function, you will get the socially optimal level of pollution. Right? Right? Is this making sense? Now the question is there any other way to find the socially optimal level of pollution? कोई और तरीका भी है क्या कि social optimal निकाल सकते हैं? Yes. You can check that through the process of collusion. Right? So if there are two firms, firm 1 and firm 2, so you will find out a collusive profit. Firm 1 and firm 2 के profit को add करके you will find a collusive profit. And that quantity which maximizes this collusive profit, that will be the equilibrium quantity. I have done many numericals on this. You can refer to those numericals beta. है ना? So you need to understand that when we talk about private equilibrium, उसको निकालने का एक तरीका ये हो सकता है that you maximize the individual profit. And when you have to find the social equilibrium, उसको निकालने का एक तरीका ये हो सकता है that you find the collusive profit. Because when you are doing the collusive profit, जब आप firm 2 के profit function को consider करोगे, you will realize that this is getting impacted by firm 1's production. So you have already considered that fact, right? So when you have already considered that, you will be getting the right equilibrium quantity. I hope this is making some sense to you. Okay. So I will go ahead and I will end this session here itself for today. I hope this session is useful to you and these questions will help you do better in your exam. Thank you, beta. One is called as a sequential game and other is called as a simultaneous game. Right? One is called as a sequential game and other is called as a simultaneous game. When we talk about simultaneous games, it means that people go ahead and make a decision together. Let me give you an example. Just say you and your friend, you need to do a project together. Okay? You go back home, you decide how much hard work you will be putting. This friend goes back home and decides how much hard work this friend will be putting. They are deciding simultaneously. एक साथ अपने अपने घर पे decide कर रहे हैं कि कितना कितना hard work डालेंगे. That's a simultaneous game. The second kind of game that we have, that's called as a sequential game. In a sequential game, what happens is players make decision in a sequence. For example, this is player 1. इसी गेम को हम एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे इसमें. So this is player 1. He decides how much hard work he wants to do. And then player 1 को observe करने के बाद player 2 decides how much hard work player 2 wants to put in. So first player 1 puts the hard work. पहले player 1 decide करता है कि उसको कितना hard work डालना है. And then player 2 will put the hard work. Now, in such games, बस सुनते जाओ मेरे को एक बारी. In such games, whichever are sequential games, we follow the process of something which is known as backward induction. What do we follow, beta? We follow the process of backward induction. What is backward induction now? In backward induction, we first solve step 2. We go backward. हम उल्टा चलते हैं. So we first solve step 2. Then we go one step back and we solve for step 1. फिर हम step 1 solve करते हैं. So we first solve step 2 and we then solve step 1. Am I clear with this? ये बात clear हुई? ठीक है. अब क्वेश्चन को देखो एक बार जरा. I know this may seem a bit difficult if you haven't done game theory, but nevertheless हम इस क्वेश्चन को एक बार solve करने की कोशिश करते हैं. Let's try to handle this question. Let's read it out, beta. Read करो जरा. Firms within an industry can experience spillover effects of investing in new technologies. Many competing industries have firms concentrated in one region or city, where workers at competing firms may interact with each other, leading to the exchange of ideas and this positive externality. Consider two firms that face inverse demand curve. This is the inverse demand function. Each firm faces the total cost. You are given this total cost function, where original marginal cost of production is 4, can be reduced by investing x1 and also decreases by a portion of its rival investment at the rate of 0.25 xj. थोड़ा समझने की कोशिश करो एक बार क्वेश्चन को. What the question is saying? The question is going ahead and saying कि imagine कि you are having a particular cost. आपको कोई output produce करने की एक particular cost लगती है. बट फिर आप कोई R&D करते हो, आप कुछ रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट करते हो, एंड व्हेन यू डू दिस R&D, उस R&D की वजह से यू आर एबल टू लोअर योर कॉस्ट. आपकी कॉस्ट रिड्यूस हो जा रही है. बट देयर आर सम स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट्स ऑल्सो. स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट्स. और ये स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट्स क्या हैं बच्चे? व्हाट आर दीज स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट्स? These spillover effects basically go ahead and say that if any other firm will do research and development, अगर कोई और firm R&D कर रहा है, तो when this other firm will do R&D ना, उसकी वजह से भी your cost can fall, because you will just learn to do that from the other firm. There will be some spillover effects. So because of the other firm also, your cost can fall. Definitely your cost can fall when you are doing R&D. But because of the other firm also your cost can fall. So this is what it is saying. देखो अब जरा ध्यान से try to look into the cost function बेटा. This is your cost function. अब इसको interpret करना will be much easier. Try to see this thing. So what is your cost function now बेटा? Your cost function basically goes ahead and says it is going to be 4. ये तो actual cost थी. This is what it is saying. That the original marginal cost is $4, but it is lowered. ये reduce हो गई. कितने से बच्चे? Minus xi. ये xi है जो हमने R&D में लगाया, और because I invested in R&D, my cost is lowering. Minus 0.25 xj. माने if any other firm is also investing, अगर कोई और firm R&D कर रही है, तो उसके स्पिलओवर इफेक्ट की वजह से मेरी कॉस्ट लोअर हो रही है, 4 से कम हो रही है. आई एम सबट्रैक्टिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम पर यूनिट कॉस्ट इनटू द यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस्ड. ये तो पर यूनिट कॉस्ट है बच्चे. दिस इज पर यूनिट कॉस्ट, एंड पर यूनिट कॉस्ट इनटू द नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स. So this will be my new cost. Now try to see this thing. Plus 0.5 xi square. Because you are investing in R&D, so okay, your per unit cost is falling, but there will be some cost you have to incur for that R&D. Now, वो R&D research and development करने के लिए you may have to hire some employees. You may have to go ahead and open some place where they will come and they will sit. You may have to do 10 things for that R&D. So that is the cost that you have to incur. तो plus that cost that you are incurring on R&D, which is 0.5 xi square. Am I making sense? Is this total cost function now clear? This is what this question is saying. ठीक है, that you are going ahead and you are investing some money. आपने अपना कुछ पैसा लगाया है, and when you are going ahead and you are investing that money, because of that the per unit cost is falling. But if the other firm is also investing some money, अगर दूसरा कोई firm है जो R&D में invest कर रहा है पैसा, then because of that also your cost will fall. Okay, now try to read this out, beta. Assume that in the first stage, every firm I invest XI dollar in R&D. In the second stage, every firm observes R&D and the cost function and then compete in quantity. Okay, now try to understand. ध्यान से सुनना, हाँ बेटा. Stage 1. In stage 1, every firm is going ahead and every firm is investing in research and development in R&D. Stage 2. After the firms have invested their money in R&D, एक बार उन्होंने research and development में पैसा लगा दिया. After the firms have invested their money in R&D, then they are going ahead and they are determining the equilibrium quantities to sell. तो बेटा this is a two-stage process. ये एक two-stage process हो गया. And whenever you will have a two-stage process, what is it that I have just told you? That you will follow the process of backward induction. You will follow the process of backward induction. समझे बात को? तो you will go ahead and you will follow the process of backward induction. And what will you do in backward induction, beta? In backward induction, you will first solve stage 2. पहले आप stage 2 solve करोगे. And after solving stage 2, you will go towards stage 1 and solve for stage 1. उसके बाद आप stage 1 को solve करोगे. Am I clear? Beta, stage 2 is what? In stage 2, firms have to decide how much quantities they want to sell. कितना output वो बेचना चाहती हैं. How much quantities they want to sell. That is what they will determine. So while determining how much quantities to sell, जब ये determine करना है कि कितना quantities बेचना है, firms will hold R&D constant. वो XI XJ को constant hold करें. ठीक है, अब थोड़ा सा आगे समझते हैं. Let us go ahead and let us try to write the profit function of the firm. So profit function of firm 1 can be written as total revenue minus total cost of firm 1. Beta, what is going to be total revenue of firm 1? Let us try to go ahead and understand this thing. So price is given to me, देखो ध्यान से, price is given to me as 10 minus Q1 minus Q2, है ना? तो price को लिख लेते हैं हम. The price function will be 10 minus Q1 minus Q2 price into quantity of firm 1, क्योंकि total revenue is price into quantity, right? So price into quantity. Let me write Q1 here. Minus total cost. और total cost क्या है firm 1 का बेटा? The total cost of firm 1 is this. 4 minus XI को X1 कर देंगे because it is firm 1. Minus 0.25 X2. Let me just write this down. Minus 4 minus X1 minus 0.25 X2 into Q1. Right? I'm just writing the cost function. और क्या है cost function में बेटा? If you just realize, तो in the cost function I have plus 0.5 xi square. तो plus 0.5 x1 square. ये पूरा cost function है. Try to understand. तो how can I go ahead and how can I write this cost function beta? 10 minus Q1 minus Q2 into Q1 minus 4 minus X1 minus 0.25 X2 into Q1 minus 0.5 X1 square. This will be profit function of firm 1. देखो if I just look into this backward induction process, तो हमें रिवर्स चलना होता है. So I need to do stage 2 first. माने I need to determine the quantity. तो I need to go ahead and maximize the profit of the firm. मुझे firm के profit को maximize करना होगा subject to the quantities, with respect to the quantities, because I have to determine the quantity. तो जो भी determine करना होगा उसके respect में ही I can differentiate. I must not differentiate with respect to anything else, right? So let me just go ahead and do that beta. So if I just differentiate this profit function with respect to Q1, क्या मिल जाएगा? So 10 into Q1. अच्छा, एक step में बीच में I will just do the step in between. So this will be 10 Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q1 Q2 minus 4 Q1 plus X1 Q1 plus 0.25 X2 Q1 minus 0.5 X1 square. I've just opened this up so that you find this easy. ठीक है, now differentiate. तो 10 minus 2 Q1 minus Q2 minus 4 plus X1 plus 0.5 X2 equal to 0. I am differentiating this with respect to Q1. So what will I get, beta? 10 minus 4 is 6 minus 2 Q1 minus Q2 plus X1 plus 0.25 X2 is equal to 0. So from here, beta, मेरे को Q1 का वैल्यू आ जाएगा 6 minus Q2 plus X1 plus 0.25 X2 by 2. This will be the value of Q1. ये Q1 का वैल्यू आ जाएगा in terms of Q2. अच्छा, tell me something. Firm 1 and firm 2 का जो profit function है वो बहुत similar दिखेगा. It will be very symmetric. If anyone tells me how to remove these balloons from Zoom when I am trying to take these classes, I'm seriously going to give you a reward. I really want to know how to remove these balloons here. Okay, just tell me how to do this from the settings. Okay, so now firm 1 and firm 2 will have symmetric profit function. जैसा firm 1 का दिख रहा था, हर जगह Q1 की जगह Q2 and X1 की जगह X2 होगा, तो firm 2 का profit function बन जाएगा. It is going to be symmetric, right beta? So if this is going to be symmetric, so on this line, what I can go ahead and do now, I can say that on similar lines, Q2 will look as 6 minus Q1 plus X2 plus 0.25 X1 by 2. क्योंकि firm 1 and firm 2 are symmetric in nature. Symmetric means they have very similar profit function. If I were to write the profit function of firm 2 now, so it would have been total revenue, that means price, into firm 2's quantity minus its cost function. तो यहाँ पे x2 हो जाता minus 0.25 x1 into q2 plus 0.5 x2 square. It would have been very similar. So since it would have been similar, I can just go ahead and I can just write a similar quantity function. Everywhere q1 will be replaced with q2, x1 will be replaced with x2 and done. And that will be my function. Am I clear with that, beta? Is that making some sense? If that is making sense, so what I can do now, I can solve these quantities simultaneously. मैं एक साथ इनको solve कर सकती हूँ. कैसे? ये जो भी Q2 का वैल्यू है, I can plug that value of Q2 here. मैं इसको यहाँ पे डालता हूँ. I will just put that here. So I will get Q1 is equal to 6 minus, instead of Q2, I will write 6 minus Q1 plus X2 plus 0.25 X1 by 2 plus X1 plus 0.25 X2 by 2. This 2 can go on the other side. I will get 2Q1 is equal to 6 minus Q1 plus X2 plus 0.25 X1 by 2 plus X1 plus 0.25 X2. I can just solve this. So I will just take 2 common beta. So this will get here and here. तो क्या आ जाएगा? I will get 12 minus 6 plus Q1 minus X2 minus 0.25 X1 plus 2X1 plus 0.5 X2, and this will be 2Q1, right? So I will get 4Q1 minus Q1 is equal to 6. See, 2X1 minus 0.25 X1 will be 1.75 X1. Minus X2 plus 0.5 X2 will be minus 0.5 X2, right? So I will get 3Q1 is equal to 6 plus 1.75 X1 minus 0.5 X2. And from here, I will get the value of Q1 as this. I understand. This is a very difficult and clumsy question. I am not expecting such difficult questions to be asked in exam, but you can practice them if you have time. Only if you have time, go ahead and practice them. Otherwise, I am not expecting you to know these kind of questions. They are difficult, I understand. Okay, beta. So what has happened is we have got the value of Q1 and Q2 from here. Try to understand कि अभी हमने stage 2 solve किया है. We have gone ahead and we have done this stage 2. मतलब हमने Q1 star and Q2 star निकाला है. Now we have to solve stage 1. And stage 1 is what, beta? In which we want to understand the R&D. In which we want to understand what will be x1 star and x2 star. Uska value nikalna hoga. We want to find out x1 star and x2 star. So what will I do now, beta? So as I told you that now I want to go ahead and I want to put this Q1 and Q2 back in my profit function. तो मेरा पूरा का पूरा profit function x1, x2 के terms में हो जाएगा. And then I will go ahead and I will solve for these x1 and x2s. Okay, let me start now. So now what I will do now, so my profit function, if I just write the profit function of firm 1, एक बार यहाँ पे आ जाते हैं. This is the profit function of firm 1, beta. I will just copy it from here. I am just taking this profit function. Copy. Fingers crossed. Such difficult questions should not be asked in exam. Paste. This is the profit function of firm 1, right? Now, once you have found out this, यहाँ पे ना Q1, Q2 का value हम यहाँ से डाल देंगे. So this will become 10. Q1 की जगह पे बेटा I will go ahead and I will write down this thing. 6 plus 1.75 x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 minus Q1 square. So 6 plus 1.75 x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 whole square minus Q1 6 plus 1.75 x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 into Q2. देखो यहाँ पे I am just plugging here into Q2. 6 plus 1.75 x2 minus 0.5 x1 by 3. फिर minus 4Q1. तो देखो 10Q1 minus 4Q1 को 6Q1 मान सकते हैं. तो rather than writing it like this ना, मैं इसको यहाँ पे 6 कर देती हूँ. This would be 6. तो यहाँ पे हम सीधा इसको 6 कर रहे हैं. I'm just doing this as 6 here. Right? Plus x1 into 6 plus 1.75 x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 plus 0.25 x2 into 6 plus 1.75 x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 minus 0.5 x1 square. So your entire profit function is now a function of x1 and x2. Clear? Can you see this? Now firm 1 can only decide the amount of R&D it wants to do. Firm 1 के हाथ में क्या है कि मैं कितना R&D करना चाहता हूँ. How much R&D I want to do. So in order to understand how much R&D I want to do, firm 1 can maximize its profit with respect to X1. समझे? Firm 1 can maximize its profit with respect to X1. So if I just differentiate this with respect to X1 beta, what will I get? Differentiation of this will become 6, 1.75 by 3 minus 2 into this entire function into 1.75 by 3 minus, यहाँ पे you need to use the product rule. Are you understanding this? So you need to use the product rule. So differentiation of first function into second as it is plus first function as it is into differentiation of the second function. It will become very tedious, beta, I am telling you. Plus 6 plus 1.75 into 2x1 minus 0.5 x2 by 3 plus 0.25 x2 into 1.75 by 3 minus 2 into 0.51 x1 equal to 0. ये आपका ऐसा कुछ आ जाएगा. अच्छा, this is the differentiation. जब आप इसको करोगे, when you will be solving this out, you will get x1 as a function of x2. I am not doing this, but I am just leaving it up to you, right? I will just solve, if you want, just solve it and show it to me. You will get x1 as a function of x2. देखो यहाँ पे x1 और x2 ही तो आ रहे हैं. So this is when you tried to maximize the profit of firm 1 with respect to x1. अच्छा, on similar basis, because the profit functions are symmetric, तो जो भी यहाँ पर आया होगा उसी को, when you will replace x1 with x2 and x2 with x1, you will get another function x2 as a function of x1. और इन दो equations को simultaneously solve करके you will get the value of x1 and x2. That will be the value of x1 and x2. Okay, I am leaving that to you. I hope you would be able to solve this. I have just solved this profit function. यहाँ से आपको x1 as a function of x2 मिलेगा. Firm 2 के लिए you just have to replace x2 with x1 and x1 with x2. You will get two equations. You need to just solve these two equations. जैसे हमने ऊपर solve की थी ना, two equations आया था हमारे पास, q1 as a function of q2, q2 as a function of q1. We solved them simultaneously. तो ही तो हमें q1 q2 का वैल्यू मिला था. Similarly, now you will get x1 as a function of x2, x2 as a function of x1. When you will be solving them simultaneously, आपको एक final x1 star and x2 star मिलेगा. That will be the value of the amount of research that firm should be doing. So if you read out the first question here, try to read this bit up. If firms act competitively, how much each firm produces and how much of the cost reducing technology they will invest in. Mane, you need to find Q1, Q2, X1, X2. So you will be able to go ahead and get the value of X1, X2. Am I clear? Or wo X1, X2 nikal gaya, so you can just put those X1, X2 here in this function. So जब वो आप X1, X2 डालोगे यहाँ पर, so you will get the value of Q1, Q2 also. So homework, just try to find that final value of X1, X2, and show it to me. Discuss how knowledge spillover affects an investment in the new technology. In other words, how does firm 2's investment X2 will affect firm 1's decision on output and investment compared to if they were to act cooperatively. Okay. Now, this is a typical question of externality. देखो, usually, बहुत ध्यान से समझो, बहुत easy है second part इसका. So try to understand, देखो, whether it is, देखो, when I talk about negative externality, ना, and suppose वही same example लेते हैं, that firm 1 is polluting the river and firm 2 is affected. So when you take the case of negative externality, there is always overproduction. So if you bring the two firms together, मतलब if you collaborate them, if you bring them together, आप उनको एक firm बना दो, तो now firm one understands that I am affecting my own firm only because they cooperate, they've come together. So it reduces its production. The opposite is the case of positive externality. The opposite is the case of positive externality. In positive externality, what happens? That firm A is underproducing. क्योंकि वो सिर्फ अपने हिसाब से प्रोड्यूस करती है. It does not think that it is affecting the other firm positively. So it will only produce according to itself. But when you will bring them together under one roof, आप उनको एक साथ ले आओगे, then it knows that when it will do more R&D, it is increasing the productivity of its own firm. B भी तो वही अपना ही firm है, अब एक साथ ही हैं, हम एक ही firm है, we are one firm. So when I will increase R&D, I will lower the cost of my own firm only. So it will always increase the amount I will invest in R&D. Because now you have brought me together. Are you understanding this? So under the positive externality, cooperation always goes ahead and it leads to increase in production, increased consumption. And under negative externality, cooperation always leads to reduction in production, reduction in consumption, right? So this is it. It was an excellent question, but a very, very difficult one. So I hope that you will be able to solve this from here. Do show me your answers, beta, so that I can check that you have done it correctly. Okay. So this was question.
Alice, who has $24. A chocolate. So I'm going to call this as budget line. A chocolate costs $2 and strawberry costs $3. First, how many chocolates can Alice buy? Right? Second, how many strawberries can he buy? And third, draw her budget constraint. Very simple question to begin with. So we know that to buy the chocolates, you will do the maximum number of chocolates that he can buy. You will go ahead and you will do income by the price of chocolate. So income is 24 and price of chocolate is 2. So he can buy a maximum of 12 chocolates. To go ahead and understand how many strawberries he can buy, you will do income by the price of strawberries. So income is 24 divided by 3, maximum of 8 strawberries is what he can buy. And now because I know the two extreme points, I can go ahead and draw the budget constraint beta. So budget constraint ke liye, I will take chocolates here. I will take strawberries here. And this is 8 and this is 12. And I will join this line and this will be my budget constraint. So this is the answer to this question, that this will be your budget constraint. Okay, now please go ahead and take another question. And I am now going ahead and giving you a question based on utility function. So one question from each type I'm just giving you, huh? So please write down. Question number 2. This was 1. Question number 2. So now you're given that Alice utility function that is given to you as u is equal to root x plus root y whole square. And you are asked what will be his utility if x is 4 and y is 9. This is the question that you're asked. Very, very simple question. So in order to go ahead and do that, very simple, I will just go ahead and keep x as 4 beta. So root 4 plus root 9 whole squared. This is u. So this is going to be 2 plus 3 whole square, and that will be 25. So his utility is going to be 25. Acha, now, suppose in exam, they ask you, okay, no, just go ahead and give me equilibrium x star and y star. And suppose that this is not x and y. Suppose that this is px and py beta. This is not x and y. This is px and py. I'm giving you this as a homework. Try this question. How will you solve it? So you're given price of the two goods. And let's say you're also given income of the consumer as 36. You're given price of the two goods beta. And it is root x plus root y whole square. I want you to give me what will be x star and y star. That's a question that is for you to identify. Okay. Now the next question that I have, this was from utility functions. The next question that I'm going to go ahead and give you is the following. So please write down question number 3. So you are given that Bob's utility function u of xy is 2x plus y. This is his utility function. And you have to go ahead and you have to draw. This is from the chapter indifference curves. So draw his indifference curve. And then you have to go ahead and tell what is going to be the slope of the indifference curve. This is the question that is given to you. So beta, what you can do? We know that this is substitute good, right? Now, whenever you are given utility function, you will go ahead and keep the utility at some level. So let's keep the utility at 4. And I will say 4 is equal to 2x plus y. And I will plot this. Let x be 0. Y will be 4. Let y be 0. X will be 2. So I will just go ahead and plot this. And after plotting this, what will I get? Either x is 2 or y is 4. So this will be my IC. So like this, steeper ICs will be formulated. You will have steeper ICs, right? These will be your ICs. This is the question that was asked. Now, come to the next question, beta, question number 4. Now you're given Alice utility function u of xy is given to you as min of 2x comma y. And you're asked, this is from the chapter marginal utilities. And you're asked, what is marginal utility for x? And what is marginal utility for good y? So you're asked to find out the marginal utility of x and marginal utility for y. But we know that this refers to a complementary good function. So what we can do, beta? We can make different cases out of it, right? So my utility will be 2x. When will it be 2x? If the minimum of the 2 is 2x. When will be the minimum 2x? But a minimum will be 2x when 2x is less than y. And my utility will be y if 2x is greater than y. Then the minimum will come down to y. Hai ki nahi hai? Isn't it? The minimum will come down to y. So now you're asked to find marginal utility of good x. So when you ask what will be marginal utility of x, it means that this utility function should be differentiated with respect to good x. So better this will be, when I differentiate this with respect to x, 2. When I differentiate this with respect to x, 0. So we know that I will go ahead and I will get 2 or 0 respectively. This is if 2x is less than equal to, kahin ek jagah pe laga do, less than equal to y. And if 2x is greater than y. This will be your marginal utility from x. Similarly, marginal utility from y, differentiated with respect to y. So if I differentiate this with respect to y beta, I will get 0. If I differentiate this with respect to y beta, I will get 1. So it is if 2x is less than equal to y, if 2x is greater than y. This will be your marginal utilities. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, now let us go ahead and let us take another question. And this is going to be on utility maximization. Okay, beta. So please write down the question. This is going to be question number 5. So let's say that now, okay, let me give you the same question. So let's say that you are now given a utility function root x plus root y whole square. And the income is given to as 36. And the price of x is given to you as 6. And the price of y is given to you as 3. The question is, find maximum utility bundle. Find that x star y star which maximizes utility for you. Okay, so let us try to solve this now. How will you go ahead and solve this beta? So, so we know that we must equate MRS to the price ratio. So your utility function is this. Your y. Differentiate this with respect to x. You will get 2 root x plus root y into 1 by 2 root x. Differentiate this with respect to y. You will get 2 root x plus root y into 1 by 2 root y. And this cancels out, cancels out, cancels out, and you are left up with root y by root x. But clearly we can see that MRS is negatively related to x, which means that I have convex preferences. If I have convex preferences, I can go ahead and I can equate MRS to Px by Py because x is coming in the denominator. So let me do that. So I will equate MRS to Px by Py. Px is 6, Py is 3. So this is going to be 2 6 by 3. So I will get root y by root x is equal to 6 by 3, which is nothing but 2. So if I square both sides, I will get y by x is equal to 4. So y will be 4 times of x. What is your budget line? Beta, your budget line is px into x plus py into y is equal to m. Px is given as 6 into x. Py was given as 4 into, no, Py was given as 3 into, instead of y, I will write 4x. Income was given as 36. So beta, what will happen? 6x plus 12x is 36. 18x is 36. X is 2. Y will be 4 into 2, which will be 8. So your equilibrium in this case will be 2, 8. That's the answer to this question. Okay, but I will give you one more question related to utility maximization. Please write down. So you're given u of xy is equal to 2x plus y. Right? You're given px is 40. You're given py is, you're given px is 4. You're given Py is 20 and you're given M is 40. Find equilibrium bundle. Find equilibrium bundle. तो बेटा फिर से this is substitute goods. For substitute goods, what do? We compare MRS to the price ratio. This is how we solve for substitute goods. So if I start comparing MRS to price ratio, what will happen? What is PX by PY? It is 4 by 20, which is 1 by 5. What is MRS? It is MUX by MUY, which will be 2. Clearly, MRS is greater than PX by PY, which means you will consume only good X. How much X? Beta, X star will be M by PX. Y star will be 0. M is given to you as 40. PX is given to you as 4. So X star will be 40 by 4, which is 10. And Y star will be 0. This will be your answer. This will be your equilibrium. Okay. Now, what we will do next, the questions that we will take next will be related to general equilibrium beta. Okay. So please write down the question. You're given that B has 2 fish and 6 coconuts, right? And in total, there are 10 fish and 10 coconuts, right? You should tell what should be the endowment of his friend AB. So please consider beta. There are 2 people, B and AB. B has 2 fishes and 6 coconuts. Totally in market, there are 10 fishes and 10 coconuts. So very simple. How much should AB have? Very simple. It should be total market, whatever market has, less whatever B has. So this is going to be 8, 4. So beta, AB will have 8 fishes and 4 coconuts. That is what AB is going to go ahead and have, right? Now, let us move one step ahead and let us introduce the Edgeworth box concept in it, right? Now, further, I am telling you that AB's utility function is given to you as UA is equal to FACA. And the second utility function, B's utility function, is FA to the power 0.25 and, sorry, FB, CB to the power 0.75. And I'm asking you, make an Edgeworth box and find equilibrium and then draw the contract curve. But Edgeworth box is simple. The total fishes are 10 and total coconuts are also 10. So it will be 10, 10, right? Now, if you really think about it, in order to make the contract curve, these are well-defined preferences. So I know that equilibrium can only be found out where MRS of individual A is equal to MRS of individual B. MRS of A beta will be when you differentiate. So it will be MU F by MU C for A. This should be equal to MU F by MU C for B. So if I differentiate this with respect to F, what will I get? I will get CA. When I differentiate this with respect to C, what will I get? I will get FA. When I differentiate this beta with respect to F, what will I get? When I differentiate it with respect to X, numerator comes down. Numerator is reduced by 1 into CB to the power 0.75. And when I differentiate it with respect to C, what will happen? Power comes down, not numerator, sorry, power comes down. And then power is reduced by 1. And then this is FB to the power 0.5. So beta, you will get CA by FA. This will be 1 by 3 FB to the power minus 0.5, FB to the power 0.25, CB to the power 0.75, CB to the power minus 0.25. So you will get 1 by 3 CB by FB, and this will be CA by FB. This is called your equation of the contract curve. This is what your contract curve equation looks like. This is where you have found out the equilibrium. Now, beta, I know that CA plus CB is 10. This is what is given to us. FA plus FB is also 10. So I can just say this, that CA by FA is equal to 1 by 3. 10 minus CA by 10 minus F. Minus CA. Just solve this a bit more, beta. 30 CA minus 3 CAFA is equal to 10 FA minus CAFA. ठीक है जी? So what will happen? You will get 30 CA is equal to 10 FA minus CAFA plus 3 CAFA. So 10 FA plus 2 CAFA will be 30 CA. This will be the answer to this question. This will be your contract curve. I hope this is clear to you. I'm just equating MRS to PX by PY, and I'm getting the answer in this case, right? So this is what will happen in this case. This is what is mutually beneficial for them, right? So this is the answer to this question. Uske baad what you can go ahead and do is you can also, after equating, you can also go ahead and you can also put that in the Edgeworth box. Edgeworth box में भी उसको दिखा सकते हो. So what can you do? So your Edgeworth box was something like this. 10 cross 10 था ना? So this was your Edgeworth box. Beta, on the x-axis, I had taken the F. F is what? Fishes now. So on the x-axis, I had taken fishes. On the y-axis, I had taken chocolates. This is OA, this is OB, right? So what we have found out is that if you were to go ahead and you were to solve this, then this is, so both of them are well-defined preferences. So the contract curves will be where the two ICs are tangent to each other, right? And joining them, you will get the contract curve. But the equation of the contract curve will be something like this. This will be the equation of the contract. Okay, so this curve that we have drawn, the equation of this curve will be this. Okay, beta, so this is a question on contract curve. Now, beta, let me go ahead and give you a question on the production function, right? So please write down. Next question. There is a cookie factory production function. given to you as Q is equal to K to the power 3 into L. How many cookies can you produce with 2 ovens? That will be your capital, and 3 grandmas. That will be your labor. So how many cookies can you go ahead and produce in this case, right? So very simple, beta. I just have to put this value. So I will get Q is equal to 2 to the power 3 into 3, 8 into 3, 24 cookies can be produced, right? 24 cookies can be produced. Now, let us go ahead and let us take one more question based on this. So supposedly, now they have gone ahead and they have asked you the following. They have said that you have this production function, plot the isoquant for this production function. So बहुत simple है. I know that I am given Q is equal to K to the power 3 into L. I can put some value of Q. Maybe I can just go ahead and I can say let Q be 100. So 100 will be K cube into L. And then I can just go ahead and plot this beta. So let's say that L is 1. Then K will be, K cube will be 100. So K will be 100 to and so on and so forth. So when you will plot it, you will actually get a well-defined isoquant. So this is how you can go ahead and plot a well-defined isoquant. Now, third part to the question. Find marginal product of labor and capital. So, so the production function given to me is K cube into L. So marginal product of labor will be differentiating it with respect to L. So you will get K cube. And marginal product of capital will be differentiating it with respect to K. So you will get 3K square L. This will be your marginal product. Now the next part says find out marginal rate of technical substitution. Again, it's pretty simple. This is nothing, but this is beta MPL by MPK. So MPL is K cube. MPK is 3K square into L. So this will be K by 3L. So this will be your answer to this question. Now the next part says that you're given rent as 3, wage as 2, find equilibrium K and L. Right? So we know that at equilibrium, we want to go ahead and we want to equate MRTS to W by R. So MRTS is K by 3L. This will be equated to W by R. So beta, we will from here get that K is equal to 2 by 3 into 3L. So this will be 2 by 2 into L. Now, if you remember, my output was 24. I wanted to go ahead and produce 24 units, suppose. So suppose it tells you that you want to produce 24 units. So beta, Q will be 24. Q kya tha? K cube into L will be 24. But beta, K is 2 times L. From this equation that MRTS is equal to W by R. So K is 2 times L, whole cube into L. This is 24. So 2L to the power 4 is 24. So L to the power 4 is 12. So L will be 12 to the power 1 by 4. This is the amount of equilibrium labor that you will be using. I hope this is clear. We went step by step and we did all the steps in this case. Now, let me give you another question. And let's take some other production function in this case. So you are given that there is a bus company. And this bus company, it needs to go ahead and it needs a driver. And the driver also needs a bus. So the production function is min of KL. Driver and bus are complementary to each other. You're also given that rent is 1 and wage rate is 3. You're given that company needs to operate. Company needs to operate 100 buses. The question is, find cost minimizing level of K and L. Again, let's try the question together. So beta, I need to operate 100 buses. That means I am given that Q is 100. So I will have 100 is equal to min of KL. You always produce at the king. So K is equal to L is equal to 100. This will be your equilibrium. What is cost beta? Cost is WL plus RK. W is 3, R is 1, L is 100, K is 100. So the minimum cost that you will be incurring will be 400. And that is the answer to this question. Is this clear? Okay. Now, let's move one step ahead, beta. Now we will take a question from competition. Right? From competition. So the question is as follows. You are given that the demand curve equation is 7 minus P. First, you have to give the quantity demanded if price is 3. Second, if consumer has purchased 4 ice cream, what is the price that you would have kept? That's the question. Okay, let's find out. Very simple. So if price is 3, how many ice cream, how much can you demand? 7 minus 3, which is 4. That's the A part. Second part. If consumer is demanding 4 ice creams, so QD is 4. So 4 will be 7 minus P. So P will be 7 minus 4, which will be 3. That is the answer to this question. Let us further go ahead and let us further find out more to this question. So now the next part to this question says, find consumer surplus if price is 3. So what is consumer surplus, beta? Consumer surplus is area above price below the demand curve. My demand curve is QD is equal to 7 minus P. So this is something like this. This is also 7 and this is also 7. This is P and this is Q. It is telling me that price is kept at 3. So beta, when P is 3, what will be Q? 7 minus P. 7 minus 3, that means 4. So Q will be 4. What is consumer surplus, beta? This is consumer surplus. So consumer surplus is area of this triangle, half into base into height. This height is also 4. So half into 4 into 4, that means 8. So your consumer surplus in this case will be 8. It will be 8. Okay. Difficult question. Find consumer surplus in the following cases. QD is equal to 1 by P square. Right? So beta, note that in this question, you are actually gone ahead and given not a linear demand curve, but a non-linear demand curve. Whenever you have a non-linear demand curve, the only way to find consumer surplus is by the method of integration. So you should be aware of integration to solve this. Let's try this question. So beta, solution. So QD is 1 by P square. So P square will be 1 by QD. So P will be 1 by root of QD. P will be 1 by root of QD. ठीक है जी. Now it is asking to find consumer surplus. Acha, I didn't give you the prices. So suppose add P equal to 1 and Q equal to 1. Add P equal to 1. Suppose you're given price is 1, or suppose you're given quantity is 1. So beta, if quantity is 1, what will be price? 1 by root 1, which will be 1. So this will turn out to be a rectangular hyperbola. And when you have this as 1, this is also 1. Consumer surplus को निकालने के लिए, in order to find consumer surplus, you must go ahead and you must find out the area under the curve, right? You must find out the area under the curve, right? So you must go ahead and differentiate something like this. Yes, so suppose not a rectangular hyperbola per se. Yeah, a rectangular hyperbola only. So area below this, if you integrate it, you will get area below this. And out of it, if you subtract this one, then you will get consumer surplus. So consumer surplus is beta, if I integrate from 0 to 1, what will I integrate? I will integrate this curve. So 1 by root QD into DQ. And I will subtract this area, this rectangular area, which will be 1. That will be consumer surplus, right? So this will become QD to the power minus half from 0 to 1, DQD minus 1. So beta, what happens in integration? You should know that power increases by 1, right? Power increases by 1, and that comes down also, right? So you will have this, when you solve this, you will get the answer as 1. So this is how you can find consumer surplus. Very simple, but you should know consumer surplus in this case. Okay, now beta, I will give you another question, but now I will give you on producer surplus. So please write down the question. The supply for video game is given by the equation Q is equal to ln 2p. Right? It is given as Q is equal to ln 2p. It says find producer surplus at P is equal to 1. This is the question that you are given. Again, this is a non-linear supply curve. Whenever you are given a non-linear supply curve, in order to find producer surplus, you must go ahead and you must follow the steps of integration. Only then you will be able to solve it. So what is producer surplus? Producer surplus beta is whenever you have a supply curve, then area below price, above supply curve, that is called producer surplus, right? So I have to go ahead. If I have to find the producer surplus, there is another way to do it. But if I use the method of integration and suppose यहाँ पे P के corresponding, I find the value of Q and I integrate this curve, then I will get this area. By integration, you always get area below. And if you subtract this area from the area of the square, then you will get producer surplus. Then you will get producer surplus. Now think, beta, when P is 1, Q क्या आ रहा है? Q is ln 2 into 1. That means ln 2. So when P is 1, Q is ln 2. Right? Now, if I go ahead and I first find the area of the square, that means P into Q karte hain. What is P? 1. What is Q? ln 2. So area of square will be 1 into ln 2, which will be ln 2. Then I will find area under this curve, beta. So area under the curve means what? I will integrate from 0 to ln 2. What will I integrate? I will integrate this curve. And what is the curve that I have? My curve is this. Q is equal to ln 2p. But bachche, I will always integrate with respect to Q. So I must go ahead, rewrite this such that it is in terms of Q. So how will I do that? Beta, if Q is ln 2p, then you can take it to the power e on both sides, and you will get e to the power q is equal to 2p. So beta, p will be e to the power q by 2. So I will go ahead and I will integrate e to the power q by 2 dq. ये हो जाएगा ये वाला part. So what will be producer surplus, beta? It will be ln 2 area of the square minus integration of e to the power q by 2 dq. I'm leaving the integration to you. Just solve this. I am telling you that the final answer will come this. This will be your answer. Okay? This will be your answer. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, we have taken a question on consumer and producer surplus. Let us go ahead and let us take a question on equilibrium, beta. So you're given that quantity supplied is C plus DP. Quantity demanded is A minus BP. Find equilibrium, price, and quantity. So we will equate demand to supply. So what will we get? C plus DP is equal to A minus BP. So DP plus BP is equal to A minus C. So P will be A minus C upon D plus P. Now you have got the value of price. Put it in any equation and get quantity. I'm leaving that to you. Sorry. Okay. Now let us go ahead and take a question full-fledged on monopoly. So the demand for lemonade, suppose, is given to you as P is equal to 13 minus Q. You're supposed to write the total revenue function. You're supposed to find total revenue when Q is 5, right? Then suppose you're given that total cost is 3Q. You're supposed to find profit, right? And finally, let's say that you are given, you're not only supposed to find profit, but you're also supposed to go ahead and find profit maximizing quantity. So find profit maximizing quantity. This is all given that it is a monopoly market. Okay, you're given that it's a monopoly market. Let's solve this better. So P is given to us as 13 minus Q, right? And this implies that TR will be 13 minus Q price into quantity. So total revenue will be 13Q minus Q square. That's the first part. If you're given Q is 5, can you find beta TR at 5? It will be 13 into 5 minus 5 square. 65 minus 25, 40. Then it says you're given TC as 3Q. So beta, what is profit maximization in case of monopoly, where MR is equal to MC. So if I differentiate this with respect to Q, I will get 13 minus 2Q. This is MR. MC is 3. So I get 10 is equal to 2Q. Q star will be 5. So my profit maximizing quantity will be 5. Finally, but a profit will be TR minus TC. TR is this. 13 into 5 minus 5 square. TC is this. 3 into 5. So this is going to be 65 minus 25 minus 15. 65 minus 40, that will be 25. So your profit will be 25. That's the answer to this question. Okay. Now, let us go ahead and take a question on oligopoly. So, the question that I want to go ahead and I want to give you is this. You're given that there are two firms and they face the demand curve. P is equal to 700 minus 3Q. The marginal cost of the first firm called Zach, his marginal cost is 100. And there is another firm called Yan. The marginal cost of that firm is 400. The question is find Cournot equilibrium. Find Cournot equilibrium. ठीक है जी? So let us do that. But a profit of Zach will be price into the quantity he sells minus his cost. This is going to be 700 minus 3 QZ plus QY QZ minus 100 QZ. So beta his best response. इसको थोड़ा और solve कर सकते हो. 700 minus 3 QZ minus 3 QY into QZ minus 100 QZ. 700 QZ minus 3 QZ square minus 3 QZ QY minus 100 QZ. So if you differentiate this with respect to his quantity, you will get best response. That will come as 700 minus 6 QZ minus 3 QY minus 100 equal to 0. So beta milega 6 QZ plus 3 QY is equal to 600. So you will get 2 QZ plus QY is equal to 200. This will be his best response function. His best response function. Now find out the profit of Yan. What will that be? So 700 price minus 3Q. This is the profit price into his quantity minus his cost 400 QY. So beta open this up. This will be 700 minus 3 QY plus QZ. QY minus 400 QY. This will come down as 700 QY minus 3 QY square minus 3 QZ QY minus 400 QY. But if I find his best response, differentiate it with respect to Y, you will get 700 minus 6 QY minus 3 QZ minus 400 equal to 0. So you will get 300 is equal to 6 QY plus 6 QZ. Not 6, sorry, 3. है कि नहीं है? So if you solve this, you're going to go ahead and get divided by 300 is equal to 2 QY plus QZ. This will be your second equation, bacha. तो बेटा दो इक्वेशन आ गई, 100 is equal to 2qy plus qz and 200 is equal to 2qz plus qy. Solve these two equations simultaneously and you will get the answer to this question. ठीक है? So if you go ahead and solve this question, what will happen? एक बार थोड़ा simultaneously कर लो. So instead of qy, you can replace the value from here. Qy will be 100 minus qz by 2. So 2qz plus 100 minus qz by 2 will be 200. So if I solve this, I should get 4qz plus 100 minus qz is equal to 400. 3qz will be 300. Qz will be 100. Qz will be 100. This is what I am getting. So Qy will come as 0 in this case. So you will have Qz as 100 and Qy as 0. This will be the answer to this question. Okay. So very simple. In Kurno, you just go ahead and you find the best responses. Solve the two best responses simultaneously and get the answer. So Qy, when I put Qz in this equation, will be 0. This will be your equilibrium in this case. So this is what I wanted to go ahead and do today. We have gone ahead and literally revised one question of each part. And you can go ahead and take this as one. For each question, I will give you 5 minutes to solve the question. You can tell me whether the answer will be true or false. And then I will move on to the next question. So question of the day. Okay. So if Mohit utility function So Mohit's utility function is given by xy and Seema's utility function is given by u is equal to root of xy, right? Then Mohit will always derive more happiness than Seema. Please take care of my handwriting. So Mohit will always derive more happiness than Seema does from any combination of x and y. So beta, this is the question. You have to go ahead and try to solve this. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to solve this question. Just made up this question. So the question is, you have to tell me whether this statement is true or false. If Mohit's, this is based on one of the IIT JAM mock papers series that we have in our course. So if Mohit's utility function is u is equal to xy and Seema's utility function is root xy, then Mohit will always derive more happiness than Seema for any combination of x and y. I'm giving you 2 minutes to solve this question. Jot down your answer, think about what the answer can be, then I will solve it with you. Tell me whether this is a true statement or false. Just try to think about it, please. So take a moment, think whether this statement is true or false. You can write your answers below and you can tell me whether the statement is true or false. The statement is this. Mohit's utility function is u is equal to xy and Seema's utility function is u is equal to root xy. You have to tell me whether Mohit will always derive more happiness than Seema for any combination of X, Y. Is this true or not? Okay, now I will answer the question for you, beta. So this is a test of how well you are doing in your preparation, how close you are to IIT JAM. As I told you, we have already covered the consumer theory. I am going to start with uncertainty and then the producer theory. But this is a test on consumer theory, how well you are performing currently for your IIT preparation. ठीक है? अच्छा, solution देखो. But the solution to this is that this is a false statement. Why? Because we know that X and Y, they represent consumption of the two goods. है कि नहीं है? X and Y represent consumption of the two goods. But all that we know is that X and Y should be positive. But imagine a scenario where X into Y is less than 1. Imagine a scenario where X into Y is less than 1. Suppose X and Y is still positive. X represents the consumption of good X. Y represents the consumption of good Y. Now X into Y is less than 1. So imagine a case where beta X into Y, let's say, is 0.5. Right? So what is the utility of Mohit? Mohit's utility function is X into Y. So Mohit will get the utility X into Y, which in this case will be 0.5. What will be the utility of Seema? Seema will get the utility root XY, na? So root of XY. So it will be root of 0.5 and root of 0.5 is 0.7. So in this case, utility of Seema is more than utility of Mohit. So although from the utility function, you may think that, XY is always greater than root XY, but that is not always true. The reverse is also possible. So the current statement is false. That is the first question of the day. Is that clear? ठीक है beta. Write down the next question. Again, this is a true or false statement. You have to tell me if this is true or false. So the statement is the following. If, let's name the person as James. If James has a downward sloping indifference curve, then it is same thing as saying she prefers, let's make it he prefers, let's say, averages to extremes. Beta, you have to tell me whether this statement is true or false. You can write your answer in the chat window, whether the answer is true or false. Read the question once. James has a downward sloping indifference curve. Is it the same thing as saying that he prefers extremes to averages? Think about this. Tell me your answer to this question. Okay. I'll give you 1 minute. Just take a moment and try to solve this. Whether this is true or false. Okay, let us do this together. So beta, the answer to this question is false. Why? Beta, downward sloping just means that the slope of IC is downward. Right? It just tells me that the slope of IC is negative. But when I say he prefers averages to extreme, we did it in our class, right? When we say averages are preferred to extreme, beta, what was the condition? We said averages are preferred to extreme when we were talking about convex ICs. Hai ki nahi hai? Remember, when we were talking about convex ICs, that is when we said averages are preferred to extreme. But a convexity is different from diminishing, from negative slope. Yahan dekho example. This IC is downward sloping and convex. This IC is also downward sloping but concave. Both of the ICs, they are downward sloping. They are negatively sloped. But only for this IC, the average is preferred over extreme. We did this in class also, that this average is preferred over extreme only for this IC, not for this. Hai ki nahi? For concave ICs, we proved that we want to go towards the bliss point in a lot of cases, or we will prefer extreme points. We will have equilibrium at the extreme, or we want to go towards the bliss if it is both are bad goods. You remember the concept? So beta, what we are saying in this case is that the two things are not the same. This is saying that we have a downward sloping IC indifference curve, but downward sloping can mean it can be both convex or concave. The second statement is saying it is the same thing as preferring averages to extreme. This only happens for convex preferences. So downward sloping and convexity does not mean the same thing, and therefore the answer to this question is false. I hope this is clear to you. Beta, question number 3 for your IIT JAM mock test. Okay? So based on consumer theory only, question 3 for your test. Please write down the question. If let's say Mr. X, if Mr. X is maximizing his utility function subject to budget constraint, then at the maximal point, marginal utility of X and Y will be equal. Better take 5 minutes again, try to answer this yourself. Tell me whether the statement is true or not, and then I will tell you how to solve this question. So I am saying Mr. X is maximizing his utility subject to budget constraint, then at maximum point, marginal utility of X and Y will be equal. Is this statement true or false? You have to tell me the answer to this question. Please take a moment and try to solve this. So tell me whether the statement is true or false. If Mr. X is maximizing utility subject to budget constraint, at the maximal point, marginal utility should be equal. Okay. So बेटा ये एक टेस्ट की तरह लो इसे. अगर अभी हमें ये क्वेश्चंस नहीं आ रहे हैं, इसका मतलब है कि और प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है. टाइम इज पासिंग बाय, अगस्त हैज स्टार्टेड. इट इज हाई टाइम कि आपका अभी तक कंज्यूमर थ्योरी का पूरा रिवीजन हो जाए. डोंट मेक इट फर्दर, डोंट डिले इट फर्दर, डोंट take it at a slow pace. Now is the time to speed up beta. अगर IIT में, ISI में, GATE में admission चाहिए, now is the time to pick up things. Okay? अच्छा. So the answer to this question is again false. Beta, we know that the equilibrium condition is what? The equilibrium condition is such that MRS is equal to PX by PY. ठीक है. Beta, MRS is MUX by MUY is equal to PX by PY. But this does not mean, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है that MUX and MUY are equal. Question बोलता है that marginal utility of X and Y will be equal. But this is not true. Suppose the question changes. Suppose they would have said that, suppose ऐसा कुछ होता. Suppose I write this. Sometimes marginal utility of X can be equal to marginal utility of Y. So beta, I've written sometimes. कभी कभी क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि ये दोनों equal हों. Now this statement will become true. Sometimes it is possible. Can you tell me when is it possible? Think about it. कब होगा true ये बेटा? If we have substitute goods and PX and PY are equal to each other. So do you remember that when prices are equal to each other, even otherwise, when prices become equal to each other, suppose I say that PX and PY are equal to each other, beta, तब तो MUX और MUY बराबर हो जाएंगे ना? At equilibrium. If this cancels out, then MUX and MUY will be equal, right? So sometimes it can be possible, but not always. Is this clear? Okay, beta. Take the next question for the day. Again, a question which can come in your final exam. Based on that, I have made this question. Okay. So the question that I want to go ahead and give you is the following. Let's say that this is a difficult one. You have 2 exams, right? And you have to allot time. So let's say that you have to allot time to different things. Take it to eating, sleeping, right? And watching TV and studying. Right? I'm just making up this question in my language. So let's say that you have 2 exams, beta, and you have to allot time to eating, sleeping, watching TV and studying. And let's say that after eating, sleeping and watching TV, you have 10 hours left for studying. You have 10 hours left for studying. Okay. Let's say that the 2 courses that you have are the following. So, you have 2 courses. One is called Introductory Microeconomics. And the other course is called Introductory Statistics. Right? And let's say you are concerned about the average score. So G represents the average grade. Right? And let's say that your utility that you have defined of this average grade, this is 4/7 2 root A plus root S. Okay, beta. Question to you. Find optimal allocation of study time. Okay, beta. So this is the question. I'm giving you 5 minutes to solve this question. Please try it yourself. What is the question saying? The question is saying that you have 2 exams. 2 exams dene hain. And after, allotting time to eating, sleeping, watching TV, सब कुछ करने के बाद, पढ़ने के लिए you have 10 hours left. So in 2 exams, you have 10 hours left. Okay. But A represents introductory micro and S represents introductory stats. And G is your average grade. ठीक है, एवरेज ग्रेड के लिए यू हैव डिराइव दिस फॉर्मूला ऑन योर ओन which says 4/7 2 root a plus root s. The question that is asked is find optimal allocation of study time. Find out how will you allocate study time. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Try to solve this question yourself. Then I will do this for you. Take a minute. Try to solve it yourself first, beta. Okay, let's do it together now. So again and again, I'm saying, beta, if you are not able to do these questions, it means that you need more practice. It is already August. Exam is in the month of Feb. बहुत ज़्यादा time नहीं बचा है. Syllabus बहुत ज़्यादा है. It is high time that you start studying now. ठीक है? So beta, what will be your budget line? We know that the time I have to give to micro plus stats should be 10 hours. ये budget line हो गई. What is my utility function? 4/7 2 root a plus root s. So beta, how will you form Lagrange? Lagrange will be to maximize this utility function subject to the budget constraint. Right? Maximize the utility function subject to the budget constraint. Okay. Now differentiate this with respect to a. What will you get? Just differentiate it, beta. You will get 4/7 into 2, 1/2 root a plus lambda into -1 equal to 0. So this is going to give you 4/7 into a to the power -12 is equal to lambda. This will be equation number 1. Now differentiate this with respect to the second part, which is s. So what will you get, beta? 4/7, 1/2, s to the power -12 plus lambda -1 is equal to 0. So from here, your equation that you will get will be, beta, 2/7, s to the power -12 is equal to lambda. Two equations mil gayi hain. We know what to do. We have been doing this so many times in class now. Divide 1/2. So beta, when you will divide 1/2, what will you get? 4/7 a to the power -12 upon 2/7 s to the power -12 is equal to 1. So beta, from here you will get 2 into s by a to the power half is 1. Is this clear? Okay, beta. So this means that s by a will be 1/2 whole square. है कि नहीं है? So s by a will be 1/4. So beta, a will be 4 times s. But a plus s is given as 10. So a की जगह पे you can write 4s plus s is 10. 5s is 10. So s will be 2. So a will be 4 into 2, which will be 8. So your equilibrium allocation, your equilibrium, that will be a as 8. You will give 8 hours to microeconomics and 2 hours to statistics. So note that, beta, in this case, the question was pretty simple. But what happened in this case? That the utility function was a little different. Utility देने की जगह क्वेश्चन में आपको एक एवरेज ग्रेड का फंक्शन दिया था and they asked you about the optimal allocation. I hope this is clear to you. ठीक है? Now, I want to go ahead and I want to give you one question for homework. ठीक है? And you should be trying this on your own. So please write down the question from this only. Okay, beta, everybody will do this question. So what will be your shadow value measured in CGPA score of the study time. This is the question which is given to you, and 4 options are given, beta. A, root 2 by 7, root 3 by 7, 4 by 7, 10. So question is, on the basis of the above question, the question that I gave you, on the basis of this, you have to solve and you have to tell me what will be your shadow value of the score in terms of the study time. Okay, so you have to tell this question. Again, I am telling you, this is high time that you start studying, that you start preparing for the coming entrance exams. Every entrance exam, IIT, GATE, ISI, IGIDR, Gokhale, MSc, Cuet, every exam beta has a different pattern. So according to the upcoming exam, you should be preparing for that pattern exam. Is this clear? Okay, now please answer this and tell me what the correct answer should be. I'm leaving this to you. Okay, thank you for your time today. 2012, question number 3. This is JNU SSS beta. Read the question. It says, consider the following null and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis given to you is pi is equal to 0.16. And the alternative hypothesis given is pi greater than 0.16. थोड़ा सा समझते हैं बेटा. See, when your pi, whenever you have null like this, whenever you go ahead and say कि null is mu is equal to something and alternative is mu not equal to something, then this is called a two-tailed test. Two-tailed test is when the direction is not known. यहाँ पे आपको direction नहीं दी गई होती है. That is a two-tailed test. Now, when we talk about a one-tailed test, what will happen? Null will be mu is equal to something and alternative will be mu either greater than something or mu less than something. So when the direction will be given to you, अगर आपको ऐसे direction दी हुई है, then that is going to be a one-tailed test. ठीक है बेटा? अब देखो ध्यान से. Two-tailed test is cancelled. ये options gone. Two-tailed test वाले. अब now I want to talk about one-tailed test. Now it is saying that my alternative suggests that mu is greater than 0.16. Right? So if I have 0.16 here, ध्यान से समझना, हाँ? I have 0.16 here. 0.16 is a positive number. I have 0 here. These are my negative numbers. I am going to go ahead and I am going to reject null. Reject null. In favor of alternative. मैं reject करूंगी null. In favor of alternative. If I will have mu pi greater than 0.16. अगर pi 0.16 से greater है, only then I will reject null in favor of alternative. Otherwise, I will not reject null in favor of alternative. So my rejection region is this region. If I get some value of pi which is more than 0.16, then I will reject null in favor of alternative. So my rejection region is going to be towards the right. कहाँ हो जाएगा बेटा rejection region? It will be towards the right. Had it been a two-tailed test, अगर ये एक two-tailed test होता, right? Then beta, your rejection region would have been on both the sides. Here also and here also. Clear? Okay, beta. Thank you. Hello, beta. Welcome to another day. In today's, question series, I'm going to take a question based on econometrics. Let's see the question, beta. Consider the population regression function yi is equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 xi plus ui. if the slope coefficient is 0, the intercept beta 1 is estimated using the sample mean. तो ध्यान से देखते हैं बेटा, let's see what the question is saying. This is my population regression function. ये मेरा population regression function. I have written this population regression function as it is. हाँ बेटा. Now it is saying that the slope coefficient is 0. So I will have to plug in 0 here. वो समझ में आया बेटा? So if I plug in 0 here, I will get yi is equal to beta 1 plus ui. Okay, beta. Now it is saying find out its sample counterpart. So what will be its sample counterpart, bacha? Here this will become small yi representing the sample is equal to b1 plus ei. So this has become my sample regression function. Now the question is asking that is the value of b1 equal to y bar? Is this correct or not? So there are two ways to show this. Method number 1. Beta, you remember that b1 formula is y bar minus b2 x bar. In this case, b2 is 0. So b1 will be equal to y bar. That's correct. There is another method to show this. Beta, what is our aim? हम OLS में क्या करते हैं? Our aim is to minimize the sum of the square of the residual terms. But here, what will be my residual? What will be EI? YI minus BI. हाँ बच्चा. So what will be the square of this? What will be the sum of this? So as part of OLS, ordinary least square, we must minimize this. So we will differentiate this with respect to B1 and equate it to 0. तभी तो वो minimize होगा. So my aim is to differentiate this with respect to B1 and equate it to 0. How can I differentiate it? But the power will come down, power will reduce by 1, and then I have to use the chain rule. So differentiation of minus B1 will be minus. Clear, beta? Beta, this will go on the other side and become 0. So I will have, beta, I'm just taking one step in between, summation yi minus b1 equal to 0. But I will just open this up. Summation yi minus summation b1 equal to 0. Summation yi equal to summation b1. Beta, b1 is a constant. It is getting added n times. So this is going to be nb1. हाँ beta. And bache, this is summation yi. So from here, b1 will be summation yi by n. The y bar. That's a correct statement. So it is correct to say, एकदम ठीक होगा बोलना, that if the slope coefficient is 0, then the best estimate of beta 1 will be through the sample mean of y. Okay, beta. Thank you. Hello, beta. Good evening. Welcome to another day of CUET question 100 days test series. Beta, today's question is the following. You are given the value of export, merchandise export, merchandise import, tourism export, insurance import, income receipt from abroad, income payment to foreigners, increase in home country's ownership of asset abroad, increase in foreign ownership of asset in home country. क्या बोल रहा है बेटा क्वेश्चन देखो ध्यान से. Calculate net holding of reserve asset. Calculate net holding of the reserve assets. देखिए बेटा कैसे हुआ है क्वेश्चन. तो बेटा what is your net exports of goods? Goods के net export हो गए export minus import of goods. तो बेटा हमारे एक्सपोर्ट हो गए गुड के 100 और इंपोर्ट हो गए 125. सो 100 minus 125 ये हो गया minus 25. बेटा दिस इज मर्चेंडाइज ट्रेड बैलेंस, इसको बोल देते हैं ट्रेड बैलेंस. हाँ बेटा, बेटा सी फर्दर नाउ सर्विसेज का देखते हैं. सो सर्विस एक्सपोर्ट इज 90 and import is 80. So beta, what is going to happen to net export of services? Export minus import, that means 90 minus 80, that means 10. Beta, net factor payment देख लेते हैं. Net factor payments. So income receipt, money that is coming in is 110. Money that is going out is 150. So beta, this is going to be 110 minus 150. That means minus 40. Beta, what will be current account balance? We have to sum this. So minus 25 plus 10 minus 40. Minus 25 plus 10 minus 40. So beta, this is going to be minus 65 plus 10 minus 50. This is going to be minus 55. Clear हुआ बेटा ये? Am I clear with this, everyone? ठीक है बेटा. अब हम देखते हैं फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट या कैपिटल अकाउंट. So in capital account, बच्चा, we have increase in home country's ownership of foreign asset. मतलब how much money is going out is 160. How much money is coming in is 200. So it is going to be 200. पैसा आया, लोगों ने आपकी कंट्री में इन्वेस्ट किया, minus 160. That means plus 40. So beta, what will be net holding of the reserves? Reserves will be minus 55 plus 40. That means minus 15. So the answer to this question will be minus 15. Okay, beta. Beta, I hope all of you have understood this question. On very similar lines, I want each of you to comment, to put a comment in the section and give me one MCQ based on your BOP. BOP पे एक MCQ सब बच्चे post करेंगे and I will go ahead and I will see whether others are answering that correctly or not. Right? It is a very good practice, way of practicing, beta. Keep helping others to help yourself. Okay, beta. Thank you, बच्चे. Hello, beta. Good evening. Welcome to day 31 of 100 question test series of CUET. Before I go ahead, I just want to inform all of you that we have already launched the mock test series of CUET. बेटा ये 10 recorded mock papers हैं CUET के, जिसमें मैंने बहुत सारे न्यूमेरिकल बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस भी रखे हैं क्योंकि CUET का पैटर्न अब चेंज हो गया है. तो ये टेस्ट सीरीज बहुत ही यूजफुल रहने वाली है. And anyone who is interested in solving these mock tests, please, you can go ahead and contact sir. You can call Rohit sir. And I hope सबको नंबर पता है 8368663950. You can just call him and you can know more about the mock test series. Okay, beta, let's start. A monopolistically competitive firm has following conditions. तो ये price का equation दिया हुआ है और ये cost की equation दी हुई है. Determine the equilibrium output in the short run. बोल रहे हैं कि equilibrium output क्या होगा short run में. What will be the equilibrium output? तो बेटा equilibrium की condition क्या रहती है? The condition for equilibrium in short run. देखो ध्यान से समझो. It is asking us about a monopolistically competitive firm. और जो monopolistic firm होता है, ये डिपेंड करता है कि क्या हम शॉर्ट रन की बात कर रहे हैं या लॉन्ग रन की. इन शॉर्ट रन इट एक्ट्स लाइक अ मोनोपोली. तो शॉर्ट रन में उसका कंडीशन हो जाता है MR इक्वल टू MC. बट इन लॉन्ग रन इट एक्ट्स लाइक परफेक्ट कॉम्पिटिशन. क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग अबाउट शॉर्ट रन. तो शॉर्ट रन में इट इज एक्टिंग लाइक अ मोनोपोली. तो हमें MR इक्वल टू MC करना होगा. वी विल हैव टू इक्वेट MR टू MC. अब बेटा ध्यान से देखो, वी आर गिवन द प्राइस. तो हमें प्राइस दिया हुआ है 20,000 minus 15.6 Q. So बेटा टोटल रेवेन्यू क्या हो जाएगा? प्राइस इनटू क्वांटिटी. तो दिस विल बी 20,000 minus 15.6 Q इनटू Q. तो बेटा ये दिस विल बी 20,000 Q minus 15.6 Q स्क्वायर. तो बेटा मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू क्या हो जाएगा? व्हाट विल बी मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू? मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू हो जाएगा 20,000 minus 2 into 15.6 Q. तो बच्चे दिस विल बी 20,000 minus this will be 12 31.2 Q. तो ये हो गया आपका मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू 20,000 minus 31.2 Q. क्लियर हुई बात बेटा? नाउ इट इज आस्किंग मार्जिनल कॉस्ट. तो अब हमें इक्विलिब्रियम के लिए मार्जिनल कॉस्ट चाहिए. सो वी आर गिवन दिस कॉस्ट फंक्शन ना. तो बेटा मार्जिनल कॉस्ट क्या हो जाएगी? डिफरेंशिएट दिस फंक्शन. तो ये आ जाएगा 4640 प्लस 20Q. जब हम इसको डिफरेंशिएट करेंगे तो आ जाएगा 4640 प्लस 20Q. तो जो मार्जिनल कॉस्ट फंक्शन हो जाएगा बच्चा, दैट विल बी दिस. नाउ वी हैव टू इक्वेट. तो इक्वेट कर दो सर. सॉल्व आफ्टर इक्वेटिंग. तो बेटा this will go here and this will go here. So 20,000 minus 4640 will be equal to 20Q plus 31.2Q. तो बेटा ये हो जाएगा 51.2Q और ये हो जाएगा 15,360. तो Q का वैल्यू क्या आ जाएगा? Q will become 15,360 divided by 51.2 मतलब 300. So what is the equilibrium quantity of this monopolistic firm? 300. That's the answer to this question. Beta, I am giving you a homework. Find the equilibrium output in the long run. What will be the equilibrium output in the long run? Everyone will do that. Huh? Okay, thank you. Hello, beta. Good evening. Welcome to another day of 100 question, 100 days series of CUET. Beta, today's question is JNU 2012 SSS question number 5. Please read the question. In which of the following cases would the purchase of rice be included in our calculation when we calculate GDP of India from the expenditure side? Pehla question dekho beta. A resident Indian purchases rice to make dosa which he sells to his neighbor. So beta, in this case, he is purchasing rice. Usne rice kharidi. From that, he made dosa and dosa he sold. So rice is an intermediate good. And we don't add the production or consumption of intermediate good in GDP. So the first answer is incorrect. This is not a part of GDP of the economy. Look into the second one. A resident Indian purchases rice to make dosa, which he sells to his neighbor. He donates the money received to charity. Again, rice is used to make dosa. Dosa is the final good. When I sell the final good, I earn money. Expenditure is on dosa, not on dosa already includes the value of the rice. So rice itself will not be included as part of GDP. And if I talk about donations, donations are unproductive in nature, right? So just remember, we only add productive value to GDP, right? Only where production is involved. Come to the next thing. A foreign citizen visiting India purchases rice to make a dosa, which he sells to another foreign citizen visiting the country. Ab samjho. But GDP includes the value of all goods and services which are produced within the domestic frontiers. This foreign citizen, he purchased rice from India. He converted this rice to dosa. He sold this dosa within India. So value of dosa will be included, but not the value of intermediate good. So third option is also incorrect. Come to the next one. A non-resident Indian visiting India purchases rice, goes back to his country of residence, makes a dosa and then sells to his neighbor. Now, think about it. Within the domestic frontier, rice is produced. This person, he purchased rice. And the end. He took this rice to another country and here he made dosa. I am not concerned. The only thing that happens within India is sale of rice. This is a net export. In a way, I am selling rice to another person, to citizen of another country. If you want to see through this method, otherwise not required. Simply think of this as an expenditure. But the final good within India is rice. Because it is not acting intermediate good in this country. Right? So selling of rice is within the domestic frontier. Resident ko ho, non-resident ko does not matter. It should be within domestic frontier. And it is a final good. So answer to this question should be D. So D is the right answer to this question. Okay, beta. Thank you. Hello, beta. Good evening. Welcome to another day of 100 question 100 days series. बेटा आज का क्वेश्चन है JNU SSS 2012 क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. देखो ध्यान से. Suppose a penalty is imposed for premature withdrawal of a time deposit from any bank in an economy, it increases. तो ध्यान से समझना इसका क्या मतलब है. It means the following. Suppose you have a bank. इस बैंक में इंडिविजुअल ए ने एक एफडी करवाई है और ये एफडी जो है ये 100 रुपीज के ऊपर एफडी है. 100 रुपीज का एफडी इंडिविजुअल ए हैज केप्ट. हाँ, एफडी ऑफ ₹100. Now this FD, it gives him a return of 10% per annum. थोड़ा सा मैं इलैबोरेट कर रही हूँ आपको. I'm giving you some more information. Now it says that there is a penalty of 1%. So whenever you will keep this FD, na beta, you have, suppose you keep it for 1 year. Suppose this is the tenure you decided. So if you will withdraw this FD before 1 year, एक साल से पहले आपने इसको withdraw कर दिया, then you will have to pay a penalty of 1%. Money, instead of getting 10%, you will get a net return of only 9%. On the months that you kept it for. So for example, you had done 1 year FD, but you withdrew this money in 6 months. आपने 6 महीने में ही पैसा निकाल लिया. Then for these 6 months, you will get interest rate, not at the rate of 10%, but rather after deducting the penalty. ठीक है? Now what has happened is, so suppose आपको net interest rate 100 मिलना था. But you have to give a penalty of say 10 rupees, so net interest आपको 90 मिला होगा. ऐसा कुछ हुआ. Now this penalty has increased to 2.5%. So now suppose you are giving penalty of 25 rupees and net return you are getting is only 75. You are paying more penalty. Okay, everything else remaining constant, what will happen to transaction demand for money in the economy? So transaction demand for money is the money that you hold in hand. जो पैसा आप transaction के लिए hold करते हो, and the money you keep in the liquid format, the money you do not give for the purpose of investment. So ये जो transaction demand of money है, this is the money you hold in hand. This is the money you don't invest. The money you don't invest. ठीक है बेटा? Now just try to think about it that now whenever, देखो, पहले एक इंसान क्या सोचता होगा, दिस पर्सन ए, इसका क्या मेंटालिटी रहता होगा कि ठीक है ना, 1 महीने के लिए ही सही, आई वॉन्ट द मनी नेक्स्ट मंथ ओनली, बट पेनल्टी 10 की जगह, मतलब पेनल्टी 10 रुपीज ही है, सो लेट मी जस्ट पुट माई मनी इन एफडी, एटलीस्ट लेट मी अर्न सम इंटरेस्ट. बट नाउ व्हेन द पेनल्टी इज इंक्रीजिंग, द पेनल्टी इज ऑन द अमाउंट ऑफ डिपॉजिट. When this penalty will increase, then what will this person think, beta? That no, I am losing more money whenever I will put an FD because I have to pay a penalty. Penalty is not on interest. This says penalty is on the amount of deposit. So every time I deposit my money, on that deposit, I have to pay penalty. ठीक है जी? तो I am losing that money. जो मैं penalty में, जो मेरा penalty है, that is that is leading to less money. I am able to earn less money. What will this person do? This person will not put his money in FD anymore. He will put less money in FD. Sirf jo money he is sure that he will not require, he will put that in FD. And about the money that he thinks that he may require, he will not put in FD. He will not pay penalty. So on the money that he requires, he is going to go ahead and he is going to keep that money in hand. पहले वो सोचता था कि यार FD में ही डाल दो, पेनल्टी इतना कम है, कम से कम कुछ इंटरेस्ट ही आ जाएगा. But as penalty increases, he is not going to put his money in FD. He will hold his money in hand. So there will be increase in the money he holds. जो पैसा वो हाथ में रखता है FD की जगह, that will increase. So the correct answer to question number 4 should be B. Right, beta? Okay, thank you.
2020 question number 1. MA Economics entrance exam. Let's see what the question is saying. It is saying find the slope dk by dl. There are 2 ways to do it. Method 1. You write your equation of the isoquant. Q is equal to 4, k to the power 1 by 4, L to the power 3 by 4. You go ahead and total differentiate this function. So dq will be 4, differentiate with respect to k, power comes down, power reduces by 1, dk, hold L constant, plus differentiate with respect to L. So power comes down, power is reduced by 1 into k to the power 1 by 4. Now, if you go ahead and this will be dl. If you go ahead and you simplify this, you will get k to the power minus 3 by 4 dk, L to the power 3 by 4 plus 3 L to the power minus 1 by 4 dl, k to the power 1 by 4. This will be dq. So this would be L by k to the power 3 by 4 dk plus 3 k by L to the power 1 by 4 dl. This will be dq. Along an isoquant, your dq is 0. There is no change in output along any isoquant. You hold output constant at any level. In this case, we are holding output constant at the level of 2000. So because we hold output constant, I'll put dq equal to 0 and solve it. dk plus 3k by L to the power 1 by 4 dl. And from here, find dk by dl. So I will get minus 3k by L to the power 1 by 4 dl is equal to L by k to the power 3 by 4 dk. So I will get dk by dl. This goes here, this goes here. K by L to the power 1 by 4 minus 3 upon L by k to the power 3 by 4. So of course, this is coming in the denominator. In order to bring in the numerator, I can reciprocate it. So this will be minus 3 into k by L to the power 1 by 4 into k by L to the power 3 by 4 is equal to dk by dl. So dk by dl will be minus 3, base are same, add the power, k by L to the power 1 by 4 plus 3 by 4. This will be minus 3 k by L. This is method 1 to find the slope of the isoquant. Go ahead and find dk by dl by total differentiating your production function. So the answer for this one will be minus 3k by L. Method 2. You can go ahead and say that we know that the slope of isoquant is nothing but MPL by MPK with a negative sign. What is MPL? MPL is how output changes when labor changes. What is your production function? Q is given as, so if I look at my production function, Q is given as 4k to the power 1 by 4, L to the power 3 by 4. So we have 4k to the power 1 by 4, L to the power 3 by 4. So with respect to L, if I differentiate it, I will get 4. K is a constant. And with respect to L, I will get 3 by 4. L to the power 3 by 4 minus 1. This will be its differentiation with respect to L. Similarly, find MPK. This will be how output changes when capital changes. So differentiate with respect to K, holding L constant. 4, L to the power 3 by 4.
and then you're differentiating this with respect to k. So, power will come down, L to the power, k to the power 1 by 4 minus 1. So this will be 3, k to the power 1 by 4, L to the power minus 1 by 4. This will be L to the power 3 by 4, k to the power minus 3 by 4. So what will be the slope? The slope will be minus MPL by MPK, which will be minus 3 k to the power 1 by 4, L to the power minus 3 by 4 upon L to the power 3 by 4, k to the power minus 3 by 4. This is a negative power, so it will go in the numerator. Negative power, it will go to the denominator. So this would be minus 3 k to the power 1 by 4, k to the power 3 by 4 upon L to the power 3 by 4, L to the power 1 by 4. Base is same, add the powers together. So k to the power 1 by 4 plus 3 by 4 upon L to the power 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4. So this will be minus 3k by L. This is another way. And what is this called? We know this is nothing but MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution. So this is coming as minus 3k by L. Whether you go ahead and total differentiate it and put dq equal to 0, or you can just find MPL, MPK, divide the two with a negative sign because slope is always negative of an isoquant. It is a downward sloping, well-defined isoquant that is given to you. So you can simply put a negative sign to show that it is downward sloping. So the answer to this question is A.